Hello. Hi. Welcome. Welcome to Drop Frames. Sorry about that. I don't blame Zeke. It's Zeke's fault. I don't know.
I did it.
Yeah. I don't know why he did that. But yeah, can't believe he did it.
Sabotage your shit, JP.
Crazy.
Good joke.
You always just blame the new guy. I think it was my fault.
Was it your fault? Is this the Florida energy that you're putting out there that's that just caused that intro to? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's when Full Hacker Man messed it up. My bad.
Yeah, I believe that.
I think it's because it's the beard load is tilted this way. So it's throwing
you're actually
throwing
right.
everything off.
Yeah. Jeez. We're kind of getting showed up here. This is
I gotta work on that.
we gotta work on that. Man. Anyways, hello.
I remember when you had that big old thing, dude. That was
I don't like looking at images of myself when I had that. I looked disheveled. It looked rough. It was a dark time. When I was like, I think we did a live Drop Frames when it was down to here once or twice at a TwitchCon or something like that. It was wild. It was insane. Anyways, hi, hello, welcome. It's Drop Frames. It's Sunday. We got first timer DatModz on the. Should we just call you Mods? Are we gonna do you make everyone say DatModz? Or are you?
No, everyone just calls me Mods. Yeah, no one ever calls me DatModz. It's just my Twitch handle.
I have my first question for you.
Where did the name come from?
No, what the hell's your actual name? Because I don't know what that is.
My real name.
I've been watching you for like years. I don't know what your real name is.
Oh man, pulling back the curtain. Yeah, my name's just Chris. Pretty generic name.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
we'll call you.
So
Mods.
where did DatModz come from?
Yeah.
where did DatModz come from? Well, back in the day, everyone just called me Mods because I used to do all the custom bigwig stuff for a WoW guild. I was in a guild called Exodus. We used to raid like world first stuff. So I used to do a lot of the programming stuff, and I used to do a lot of modding stuff. So everyone just called me Mods because they would just call me Mods. And then when I went to make my Justin TV account back in like 2010 or 2011, I went to go take the name Mods, and it was already taken. And then back in the day, everyone would just say like that guy or that dude or something. So I just put that in front of it. Yeah.
Simple.
And for a while, I tried to ask Twitch, and like I was like, "Hey, Twitch, do you guys like? Can I just have my name Mods? The person doesn't use it." They're like, "Nope, we can't do that for you." And
wow.
Yeah, 10 years later, they still can't do it. I'm like, "Oh, I'll just stick with it. It works."
Yeah, it can happen.
Well, did you run into like or did you have any thoughts about like the same thing I had was years and years ago, the Twitch people, one of the employees at Twitch contacted me and was like, "Hey, do you want Zeke? Like just ZEKE for your Twitch name?" And I thought about it because that's what I just go by Zeke. Zeke's on my logo, all that shit. But the thing that went through my mind, I'm wondering if it went through yours as well, is Ezekiel the third, like _ is I have it everywhere, and there's no fucking way I'm getting ZEKE everywhere.
Yeah, that's probably true. Probably couldn't get mods everywhere. You might have, because you're still DatModz on Twitter. I think your YouTube. What's your YouTube? Is it DatModz as well?
Yeah, DatModz. Yeah, so I just got DatModz everywhere.
Yeah. It probably would have been hard to get mods.
It was pretty streamlined now.
Yeah, you could have been Zeke, as Chad's pointing out.
Nah, I'm kidding. Nah,
Zeke would have been good. Would have trended. Would have been big. Anyways, it's been a very busy week. There's been a lot of stuff happening. We'll get to all the news. We want to touch base with Mods first and learn a little bit about him apart from his name. And then we'll talk about the Twitch stuff, the state of Twitch, the layoffs, the Counter-Strike 2, Dark and Darker is in some spots now, and that's been a talk for the past couple of days. It's been okay. Are we getting to share that Dunkin' money, Mods? That you like perfectly turned the cup there. That was a perfect sponsor plug. That
was non-sponsored.
I refuse to believe that was not on purpose.
No, I'm not sponsored by Dunkin' right now, but yeah.
I'm gonna get a piece of my gum. Dentine Ice.
Man, I raised my arms, and man, I'm just speaking. Let me just get that in there real quick.
Oh man, it was well done. Regardless, Mods. Diablo 4 has also come out. There's a bunch of stuff happening. But let's. I've been watching you for years, Mods. You are my comfort streamer. You're the streamer that I can pretty much always count to be online because you stream a shit ton. You do those marathon streams. But with like,
I've never done a subathon, but yeah, I guess in Twitch standards, I do stream a lot.
Yeah, can you even do a subathon with how much you stream? It would just be a normal stream.
Yeah, maybe.
That's kind of the thing these days, though. Do your normal thing and call it a subathon.
Yeah, I guess that you might be onto something there, Co.
Yeah, I think subathons might have been devalued a little bit. People just do 6-hour streams and call them subathons now and take a break. So
that is true.
The subathon might not be there anymore.
Yeah, that is true. Where did let's start with the early days, Mods. Like what was the premise of the channel when you first started streaming, and how did you even find Twitch and like decide that you were going to start streaming?
Oh man, so that was probably in Justin TV days. Just people in my WoW guild, I wanted to watch some Dragon Ball Z. And I'm like, yo, boys, where can I watch some Dragon Ball Z at? They're like, yo, if you go to Justin.tv, they have reruns playing all the time. So I made like a Justin TV account. I just started watching some Dragon Ball reruns. Yeah, this is pretty cool. And yeah, I'll just go to Justin TV to watch like random television shows and like movies and stuff. And you don't have to download anything. And then I just like some of my friends would like stream their video games or gameplay to each other, like when we're doing like WoW raids and stuff. So we would just kind of like watch each other. And then Justin TV broke off to Twitch and they started doing the gaming only portion. And then I had some friends from my WoW guild, like Crip. We're in the same WoW guild together. He started doing the D3 stuff, but before that, I didn't really have like a goal or premise or like business motivation to stream. I kind of just did it for fun. So I remember my first stream on Twitch after Justin TV broke off. I was just playing like Skyrim in my parents' house shirtless. And I found like a bug in this cathedral and randomly like 1,000 people were watching me. And then, that was pretty much it. I found like this bugged experience leveling spot in the cathedral.
Was that the like, we always ask what was the tipping point? Was it the bug in the cathedral in Skyrim? Was that your tipping point? Or did you have another point where you're like, oh, this...
From the sounds of it, he may have been onto the hot tub meta before it was a thing.
Well, maybe, yeah. You might be right. He might have been the origin story of it. The untested origin story of it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't stream consistently back then. I would just stream like after school or like after work just for fun on the weekend. So it was not a consistent thing. It was just a for fun thing for years. But I would just stream.
When was where you worked? Like, what was your go-to, or what was your job? Not go-to job. What was your job then? While you were kind of streaming for fun.
Back in 2011, that was when I was finishing up college, and I worked at a casino. I worked at the outdoor area in food and beverage, and can I say this? But it was like the largest strip club in Las Vegas owned the portion of this casino, and I just worked outdoors and I just did food and beverage stuff. I was like a cabana host. Yeah, that's it. At the time,
you can totally say that. That's perfectly fine. Yeah.
I worked for the casino. Then the establishment like bought out rights to host their day club there.
Oh, is that?
I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna say something very scandalous. Then you were like,
"No,
club."
Yeah. That's nice guy Mods.
Say that? There's boobs there.
Look, he doesn't.
I don't
want to
know how
get
much
banned.
I can say.
That's
I
right.
mean,
Consider it, though.
can I tell people like I was a coke mule? Is that?
That's what I was expecting.
Are we
He was
cool
kinda
with that? Like,
I don't know if I can say this, but like I dealt drugs. Is that like a
thing?
Yeah.
Oh God, he's nice guy Mods. Okay, he's gonna be nice guy Mods. That's who he is. That's how it goes. So you were Cabana Boy, delivering drinks.
Official title.
Official title. Yeah.
Cabana Boy.
When did that stop? And you're like, oh, I can. Let's try this Twitch thing. Let's see if this can be, my life. Let's see if we can go full time with this. Or did you wait? Were you smart about it and were like, all right, let's wait till I'm making like good money and then we'll go quote unquote full time? Like, when was that transition?
No, so I finished up college and I went to school to be a mechanical engineer. And then Diablo 3 got popular or whatever. And then I basically just streamed Diablo 3 like really, really consistently at the time. And then once I finished like school, and then I went and worked full time for a while. And then in 2019, I went full time. So I didn't become a quote unquote full time streamer until 2019.
So pretty recently then. Wow.
Wait, did you say that you finished your degree and then you worked for a little while?
Yeah, I had a normie job.
So you finished your degree, you worked for a little while, you were like, this sucks. I'm going to go play video games.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah?
Well, I got into like a position financially. I got in a position financially where I could stream and not have to worry about paying their bills every single month. I think that's the biggest thing about streaming. Some people jump into it too soon. We had a decent following before I went full-time streaming, but you guys could probably attest to this. The disparity between their highs and lows on Twitch is absolutely insane sometimes. They've done some stuff over the years to make it a little better, especially with the acquisition of Amazon. But yeah, like early on in Twitch, before Amazon, it was wild, your revenue disparities.
It was all over the place.
At least for me, yeah. Especially being an ARPG streamer early on, and there was only one ARPG at the time, which was like Diablo III. Path of Exile didn't become really popular yet until like 2015.
Yeah.
2016 now.
And I want to say Crip kind of had the lion's share of Diablo 3 viewers back then. Like he was the
he was the Diablo 3 guy,
Yeah, the go-to Diablo guy. Back when like 10,000 viewers was unheard of, and we were all freaking out when Crip got the crazy viewership of 10,000 viewers.
So out of curiosity, did you like since I mean it's kind of wild that you just happen to be in the same guild as like the top streamer and kind of where you were going. Did you guys kind of synergize early and make headway together? How'd that whole thing work? Did you never talk to each other?
No, we didn't really have plans. Like, I don't know how it is with you guys as streamers. You have like a lot of streamer friends, but we don't actually really talk that often. You don't like text message your friend all the time in the morning. Like we'll talk on Discord and stuff, but yeah, we don't really coordinate anything with streaming. There was just a bunch of us in our WoW guild that were like, hey, let's go stream. This will be fun.
Did you mentioned the WoW guild name? Did you guys have any world first or anything like that?
They did, a few of them. Yeah, US first.
Yeah,
a few of them.
Do you remember the random chance? Do you remember a guild named Void?
I think there are a few guilds named Void.
Okay, all right. Let's move forward quick, and I'll edit that part out.
You're from Florida? Hey, do you know John?
Do you know John in Florida? Yeah, he's a great guy.
No, I don't know. What server were they on?
God, what server were there? I guess started Archimon and then went Mugthul back in the day. That's a
those are words.
That's a decade old pull right there for those server names. Jesus Christ. I don't like this, mods. You're making me feel old.
Dude, let me see my silver hands out there. Where's my silver hands? Let's go.
Jeez. What type? You said, what was your degree? Electrical engineering?
Mechanical
engineering.
Basic, yeah. Basic.
What was the
electrical? Way too hard, and chemical way too advanced. So
you just went with mechanical. Fair enough.
Yeah,
ears good.
What was your day-to-day job then when you were doing that before kind of the full-time thing in 2019?
I just operated the coffee machine. I didn't really do anything, to be honest.
Oh no, I think you meant after you got your mechanical. Was the Cabana Boy the job you went to from the mechanical, finishing a mechanical degree?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I too thought there was another thing there.
Yeah, I thought you worked another job in between that, but it was just school.
I worked a few jobs at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, I did like internship. They did unpaid internships back then. I think that's frowned upon now.
Yeah. You get canceled on Twitter for that type of stuff these days. So you gotta pay people. So 2019 then. So you caught you kind of caught like the COVID high in term. That's a weird phrase to say. You caught the COVID raise in viewership.
I'll tell you what there were so many unknowns there, and I was really, really scared. I'm like, recently committed to streaming full time. I'm like, I hope it goes well, because everyone thought there was going to be a downturn, right? People were like panic selling houses and everything else like that, and it just ended up being a huge uptick for everything. So got very, very lucky in that position.
Yeah, PoE took off. Twitch in general just kind of had a crazy time during that period. And then I would say Lost Ark was probably like the next big bump for you, right? Like you became, in a lot of ways, the de facto Lost Ark dude, right?
Yeah, maybe one of the main US guides. There's Stoops also, and then you had a lot of Lost Ark is very dominated by Korean streamers that play in that region, because like most games that are released in the East and come in the West, it's all staggered launches where they release the content in one region, they already experienced it, they've min-maxed everything, they've done the theory crafting, and then it comes and releases another region later on, and everything's already solved. So yeah, a lot of basically the Korean streamers know everything. There's no like build exploration or any min-maxing or theory crafting stuff at all.
Does that like affect, like how does that affect your stream? Because there is, no, like you just said, there is no theory crafting. It's like solved. So what?
Yeah.
Are you just emulating what they're doing for a Western audience?
You're pretty much emulating. Yeah, like for all the translated stuff in the Western area, and then you look at like their stuff on their forums, which is called Inven. You just translate it from Korean. You look at stuff, and you can do like little iterations to build and stuff, but everything's pretty just straightforward in that game. You don't have a lot of variations in your build and customization options at all.
Do any of the does any of the Korean audience watch you? Or
yeah.
Like
there's a lot of them, and they'll type in Korean, right? And it's like this funny little character, and it's them laughing. Yeah.
Oh, they're just.
It's almost like an upside down L.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. And they gave me a nickname too. They call me the weight of the head.
Well, because
it doesn't really.
What?
Yeah, it means I'm like the head of like the household or like the dad figure, but it's like a weird translation in Korean. So if you like translate it directly from Korean to English, it just means the weight of the head. I mean, I got like a big head or something, but yeah, it's like a father figure type
like
thing.
Heaviness?
Yeah, like
or W-A-Y?
like, no, like weight of my head. Yeah, like
okay.
A fat head. Yes, a large head.
Fat head almost.
I think it's the beard. Yeah, Okay.
Right,
yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, like
I wish I
could
had a cool
be
Korean
like
nickname.
half brothers or some shit, because like I got a fucking melon on my head too, like or on my neck. Like I was shopping for hats the other day, and I'm like, what in the fuck is wrong with all these people? They don't have normal size heads like me.
Hats are impossible. That's just you got to give up. It's just too tough.
JP, you're another noggin.
Yeah, I
get it. The struggle, man. The struggle.
Massive head. It's tough out here. It's real tough out here. So weight of the head, DatModz.
Yep.
Lost Ark. Would like
call me, yeah.
Diablo IV obviously been all the rage this past couple of weeks on the channel, but would you say Lost Ark is like your main game, or are you an ARPG streamer? What do you tell people that journey into your channel for the first time?
Yeah, I would say I'm like a variety ARPG MMO player. But yeah, I really got into Lost Ark last year. I don't like a lot of the pay-to-win elements and stuff like that, where like people could swipe for stuff, but they really do their Legion raids, like their endgame raids, very well, and the combat's pretty nifty, so that's why I enjoy it so much. Some other stuff I'd prefer not to be there, because it's like grinding for things, but the quality of the raids is a big plus for me.
At one point, at least initially, I don't know if it's still the same, you had never spent any money on Lost Ark. Is that still true? Have you grinded out everything?
Yeah, I didn't spend any money on the game, and then eventually there's these things called peons, but everyone calls them payons because it's like this tax in the game. It's one of the main criticisms, and there's like this really end game item. It's called like a 9/7 stone. It's basically just layers of RNG, and RNG. It's like a casino simulator. You go to this little vendor, and it just had like 9 or 10 lines, and you just click, and then it's like a 75 to 25% chance for it to upgrade depending on what you hit. I was trying to go for a 9/7 stone. I spent like $320 of real life money trying to get it over a couple months, and I didn't get it. And I feel really bad about it. But chat thought it was really funny. Watch me spend that money and not hit my goal.
Yeah.
So now I categorize myself as free to play plus.
Okay.
Plus.
Fair. Fair. Well,
a lot of pluses, but I feel you.
Yeah, every extra $100 is one plus. That's how it works.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of lifetime spending, I'm sure that's low for a player that's at your level in that game, right? Like that, Lost Ark, you can spend some money.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, it's like one big Path of Exile supporter pack to get a T-shirt. So, yeah, I actually spend less money on Lost Ark than I do in PoE on cosmetics.
Oh God, we've had this conversation before on the show, and me and Co both just don't like it, and so we're skipping. We're editing out this as well. This is going to be the most edited show. What were you gonna say, Zeke?
I was just gonna say, like, that sounds familiar, JP.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I opted. You know, you're spending too much money when you don't opt for the shirt and instead get the digital of whatever that stuff is.
I know. I remember we were looking at Co's video playing of what's the new ARPG that's kind of like a little lower budget.
Last Epoch.
Last Epoch.
Last Epoch. There you go. And I remember looking at that and going like, man, that guy looks like he's fucking naked. Like he's got like nothing on him.
He's like, not glowing. He doesn't have two giant unicorns behind him.
Exactly. I remember like watching your like videos of PoE and you got like flaming wings and you got like a smoke trail. You got like God like following you around and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to ask, Mods, PoE, what's your lifetime spending at? If you're comfortable sharing. Do you know? Have you ever looked at it?
Oh man.
Is this a laugh so I don't cry?
I think that's the answer. That might be the answer.
I have like 5 PoE shirts. I know that. So that's like $500, $480 a pop.
Yeah.
And like I've been playing PoE since it came out in 2011. So it's where's Dila?
So,
I need to make sure she doesn't hear it. It's a little bit of money.
Yeah,
it's under. It's not 5 figures, but it's it's like 4 figures with the cosmetics. Yeah,
4 figures. Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and then when Delirium League came around, and like the need for like they had like all the really really juicy loot and stuff. I got a bunch of quad stash tabs, and those just kept on adding up. And yeah, it's a couple $1,000s easily.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
You're in.
No man, hey, listen,
you're in bad company.
Like everybody, like anyone who's a nerd like us, like finds a hobby and spends on it. Like I don't have a lot of money in a lot of video games. I mean, I have a lot of money in a lot of video games, like over 2,000 whatever. But like, if you're talking about money sink, I'm probably pretty close to 5 figures back in the day on Magic.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Magic is a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
But yeah, gaming's also my hobby. I guess gaming's it's my job technically, right? So it's a tax write-off, but it's also my hobby. I don't have a hobby outside of playing games. So when I'm not streaming, I'm also playing games. So
yeah,
if you have like a normal hobby, you race cars, you go golfing, swimming, like any type of sports and stuff like that. You're on travel teams or anything else like that. The high cost. This
is some really good copium.
Especially if you're into automobile stuff, right? You buy some track time or something. You go to this strip. You buying some race guys.
Yeah. Motorcycles.
Yeah,
motorcycles are expensive.
Motorcycle, yeah. How many motorcycles we up to now? Did you, by the way, did you get that Keanu motorcycle yet? Is that a thing that you have?
No, not yet.
Okay.
It's copium. It's supposed to, the design meeting's supposed to be this year.
Oh, okay.
But that one will be
That's
my 5th. So.
Okay.
You do road bikes only, Co?
I do road bikes and dirt bikes.
Dirt bikes. I used to race motocross competitively.
No kidding.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Oh yeah, dude.
Long
Very
time
cool.
ago, yeah.
Was that in the 2010, like when was that?
Oh, that was the early 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you Yamaha?
I raced Yamaha, Kawasaki, yeah. Had them sponsored and stuff.
Very nice.
It was fun. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah, Vanilla
Very
Ice used to also race at my main track, so I would see him like every weekend.
Do you just pull stories?
Like
Yeah, I know. It sounds kind of unbelievable. Yeah, whenever I used to go to my local track, Vanilla Ice was there all the time riding. Yeah.
Was he Vanilla Ice at that time?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
He was like the track celebrity. Yeah.
So here's a question:
Do you call him Vanilla or do you call him Mr. Van Winkle?
When you want to get his attention, what do you say?
Just Rob. Yeah.
Oh, you just call him Rob. Okay. You don't say like, "Hey, Vanilla," or "Hey, Mr. Ice."
No. Yeah, we would just call him Rob. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Funny Vanilla Ice side story, and I love saying this because 9 times out of 10, every time you mention it, somebody goes, "What?" Yeah, Vanilla Ice is actually like a huge home renovator now, and he has like his own show.
Yeah.
He's got like his own developed like brand and everything. Like he is, like, Vanilla Ice home renovator and improver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. He does it with this guy I know, Wes Kane. It's one of his main guys. I used to race with his kids. He had 2 kids, and we used to race together all the time.
Small world.
Yeah,
but yeah, he does like track announcing stuff, but I guess he does the home renovation stuff with them now.
Yeah, wild. What else you got? What other crazy stories you got, Mods? Like I feel like I don't even need to set you up for anything. Well, he's like, yeah, I used to race with Vanilla Ice.
I know he's gonna be like,
day.
well, I mean, it's not very interesting, but I used to skate with Tony Hawk, and
Yeah.
you know. I
That's basically it for now. Yeah.
That's it for now. Okay. All right.
That's it for now. That's it for now.
he's still a young guy though, JP. Hold on tight.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, and then I guess the other aspect of it, you're one of the cool dads on Twitch. You had a kid. What was like?
Congratulations.
Congrats. Yeah. How was that whole experience? I feel like that's a select few of streamers that can like relate to that whole process while also streaming. And it being a little bit of a challenge, would you say?
Yeah, I was inducted the Dad Gamer Club.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. So yeah, I had my first kid. He's like 14 months old now, and he he was born a couple days before Lost Ark release, and that was like one of my big games coming out. So it was stressful. Like I was so scared to become a dad, but you know, once it happened, it kind of came really natural. And we have like good support group around us, and Dilo, my partner, she basically the MVP, and she does a lot of the heavy lifting and stuff. I try to help as much as I can, but, you know, like I stream a lot too. But yeah, I always try to make time for the family and doing stuff with them. But yeah, being dad's a fun experience. I've been enjoying it so far.
You mentioned it came out around Lost Ark. What was that like? Because Lost Ark is a game that demands a lot of time, but also it's your kid being born. So like,
yeah, I think I slept 2 to 3 hours for that entire month.
Whew.
I was exhausted. Yeah. So yeah, I had like I actually had a sponsorship to play Lost Ark, and I remember they messaged me when I was in the hospital, like, are you going to get out of the hospital in time to do the sponsorship? I'm like, well, I guess we'll see. I don't know. I can't really speed up anything here. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be able to do it. I'll be able to do it. Yeah. They're wondering if I was still going to be able to, be able to do the stuff for the sponsorship requirements. Yeah.
You like pop your head into the emergency room. Hey, hon, can we speed this up? I got to go stream Lost Ark. They're getting mad.
The guys over there are telling me to like plug your nose and just like.
No, they weren't mad or anything. They're
really
just
trying
what was up and everything. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're like wondering if I was going to be able to stream a lot and if I was going to be able to do the obligations.
Sure.
And, what everything was going to be like. If I was going to, some people, they take sabbatical and just take a bunch of time off. Like, are you just going to take a bunch of time off?
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
yeah.
No, I'm just going to not sleep.
That's usually the streamer answer.
And for those who don't remember, the Lost Ark activation was a ton of streamers, and we
were
had,
a part of it.
Giant list of goals. So I mean, it was a very time intensive sponsorship.
Yeah,
so I can see why they were kind of like, and it's even more to the credit of them wondering if everything was good. They were teams competing against each other. So if one person wasn't going to be there, they obviously would have to sub someone in so the team would not fail. So
yeah.
Wait, wasn't were you on Mods' team for that? Whose team were you on?
I don't remember. That whole time was a blur.
I remember Mods getting upset because the other members of his team were like not putting in the work, and
I was probably on his team.
That's why I was asking if that was you, because there was definitely
I wouldn't
slow
say I was
folks.
upset. There were definitely some people that weren't doing anything for the goal objectives. They were just collecting the paycheck.
Yeah,
I think they didn't even like try to do anything. Yeah,
I definitely got like most of the goals done. I didn't get like the high end super time intensive.
Some of them were crazy.
I got all the goals that were like attainable for how long I planned on playing the game, which was the amount of time that and then I found PvP, and unfortunately I became quite addicted to the PvP. That was so much more fun than the other stuff for me.
Yeah.
Finding the PvP and realizing what the end game of Lost Ark was like, yeah, that was it for me. I was like, I'm just gonna PvP. Like, I'm sorry, it's a huge amount of fun, and frankly, I don't like that mobile game bullshit. I'm just gonna PvP.
Yeah. Lost Ark is Lost Ark is the best way.
It is.
The funniest thing about the PvP is most people that actually play nowadays despise the PvP, even though they implemented like more PvP modes, like there's like a battlegrounds mode. and like open world PvP, like old Alterac Valley, where it's just like 2 teams. A lot of people just don't like it because it is like somewhat normalized, but it depends on your gear. So people get like really good PvP gear and they just dominate people, and there's not the best class balance. You just get like off screen by summoners just throwing phoenixes. So
fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, this is embarrassing to admit. I was on your team too, Mods. It was,
So wait, we were all on the same team?
we were all on the same team. We had our team was a viewer linked it in the chat. It was Anthony Kongfan, Bajero, Bikeman, Burke Black, CDN the Third, Co, Mods, Lily, Grims, Hune, me, Maximum, Lucky Ghost, Crip, Sacriel, Sloot, Smashley, Stoops, TV, Tally, and Zeals.
That was like one of 3 teams, right?
That was one of 3 teams. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
1 of 3. Yeah,
There was
it was stacked. Yeah.
they I still think that was one of the most what's the word? Absurd came to mind first. I don't know if absurd is the right word, but there was a lot of marketing money baked into that game on Twitch.
Yeah, definitely.
Every streamer that was a part of this was paid very well.
Very well.
Yeah, it was a massive marketing push for Lost Ark. And it worked, right? Like it set
That
up
Amazon money, man.
Yeah, it set up a framework for companies to kind of mirror what Lost Ark did because it was super successful. I
They
think
tried it with New World.
Yeah, they tried it with New World. I've seen a bunch of other companies at least try to attempt that. Drops were a huge part of that whole thing. I think that kind of solidified what drops are for marketing teams and how those work on Twitch.
That was also Leviathan Core. That PS,
Yes.
Yeah,
which is like they're absolute top of their game for
Absolutely.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they do PoE now,
probably-
funny enough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they handle the PoE stuff. So
I like
it's-
those
it's
guys.
cool.
They always put together. Whenever you work with those guys, they always put together cool systems where it's not just like a sponsorship. They create like cool viewing experience stuff for everyone else too. So it is sponsored, right? But there's like objectives and stuff. I think they do a really good job with their marketing. I like working with them.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Really good group of guys.
Absolutely. That reminds me. Oh yeah, Blue Protocol. I wonder if they'll do anything with Blue Protocol because that's also Amazon published.
when is that one?
I don't know. They've been like talking about betas for a while with Blue Protocol, but I don't know if there's any like solid dates for when that will actually happen. Blue Protocol, for those that don't know, is it's an MMO that's like anime-ish looking.
AMMO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anime
Made in
MMO.
Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're starting the beta soon from what I've saw.
Okay.
And then Amazon's also doing Throne and Liberty, which is another MMO.
What is Throne
Oh,
of
yeah.
Liberty?
Coming out also. It's made by NC Soft.
Oh,
It's another Korean MMO.
let me just see what this looks like. Oh, okay.
Wait, NC Soft. Wow.
Wow.
I think that name came up a lot during CD Ramathon.
Was that Ion?
NC
Oh,
Soft
different
is-
one, Zeke, I think.
Yeah, NC Soft
Okay.
has been a lot.
Oh, Lineage
They did-
2. Lineage
They
2.
did Lineage. I think they did also
And
do
I think they did
Ion.
Ion 2, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say they were the publishers
Yeah.
behind. Weren't they involved in City of Heroes and City of Villains at one point? I think they might have published that back in the day as well. They've got a lot of
Blade
IP.
Guild Wars,
People were
Dragon's
saying?
Nest. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
Throne and Liberty is the former Lineage 3? Somebody said in chat? Wait, what
What does that mean? Like it used to
does
be.
that mean?
It was going to be Lineage 3. Is that what they're saying? This is their website right here with the little trailer running.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, NCSoft owns ArenaNet.
Oh,
I didn't realize
okay.
that. ArenaNet's Guild Wars. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
They're big. That always happens whenever you bring up any of those companies. They just end up owning everything.
Yeah. And they're all owned by Tencent.
yeah. Then everyone, it all filters up to Tencent at the very top. That's where that all comes from. So, well, Mods, I guess we could jump into some Diablo talk now because that's kind of where your channel is, and I think that's where it's. I mean, you went from like Lost Ark back to Diablo 3 recently because the most recent season.
Yeah.
And that blew up. How would you say if this is the end of Diablo 3, which I don't think it's going to be, people are still going to play that game for years to come, I'm sure. But with this being like, the last season for Diablo 4, where'd you say that game's at? Is it in a good place?
Diablo 3, the funniest thing, so Diablo 3 had this really, really rocky road. Everyone knows like the launch story and stuff like that and seasonals. For the longest time, Blizzard basically didn't support Diablo 3 seasons at all. They just did like little meme things. So like brand new Diablo 3 season, double goblins. And you're like, wow, 2 goblins. That's so crazy. It was basically just abandoned for a while. And then leading up to Diablo 4, they actually started making some like more meaningful changes and implementing some cooler mechanics. And I think that's probably just part of their hype and marketing stuff, right? To reacclimate people with the Diablo franchise. They actually didn't. Diablo 3 is still Diablo 3, right? You level up really quickly. Everything's predetermined for you. You have like sets that give you 40,000% more damage. And then you get fully geared in like a couple days, and then they stream like the whole augment system, and they have like your basic crafting systems. But yeah, they actually did some pretty cool improvements to Diablo 3 this season. I don't, when Diablo 4 comes out, I see people maybe playing the seasons for a weekend and then just going back to Diablo 4. I don't think they're going to play it that often. I don't even know how much they're going to support it anymily.
Yeah. Have they said if it's the last season for Diablo 3, or are they just like not really commenting?
No, they didn't really say anything. Yeah, who knows what they're going to be doing with it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. It's wild to think this game came out as long as it did, long ago as it did, and it's still, the most recent seasons have been pretty big. Whether it's people hyped for Diablo 4 or things like not Lost Ark. Why can't I remember Last Epoch? Have been doing
Last
very well.
Epoch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of that I think is Diablo 4 hype. Path of Exile obviously always there. But I feel like, what is your take on it, Mods? Is someone that is living and breathing those ARPGs? Is Diablo 4 just a different beast entirely in terms of size and scope?
The different beasts? Well, I guess they're trying to like reimagine the genre by adding those MMO aspects to make it feel more lifelike, and some of it feels good. But I think one of the biggest criticisms of the beta is the scaling. I don't know how you guys like it, but a lot of the fantasy of a Diablo franchise is when you're getting upgrades and you're getting more gear and stuff, you feel more powerful. And because of the world scaling, when you do get those big upgrades and you level up one time, you're like, I'm hitting for less than what I hit before. This doesn't really feel too good. But I don't really know what their plan is for late game. I never played the end game NDA beta for Diablo 4.
Yeah. Welcome back. Sorry about that. This PC, I think, is on its last legs here. OBS literally was just hard crashing. It wasn't network related or anything. But as always, we're just going to blame Mods. He said we could at the beginning of the show, and so we're going to roll. We're going to roll with that as well. We were talking about Diablo 4.
It was honestly like during that whole crash, I was still watching all 3 chats here, and all 3 of them were like, Zeke, what'd you do? Zeke, you suck. What the fuck, Zeke? I'll tell you what, like, woe be to you, JP and Co, if you ever fucking replace me, because that person is going to have to take a lot of shit.
Probably true.
Very true.
Yeah, very true.
Good point.
Very true. All right, I will. It might have been maybe Diablo 4 was like just too crazy. The footage was just too hype. That Mods is showing. Of his
yeah.
They could have been that, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we were talking about Diablo 4 and like where it sits in the ARPG world, and if I was asking you if it is a little bit different in size and scope to kind of general gamers, casual gamers, whatever you want to call it. Where do you think Diablo 4 exists within the world of gaming?
Where does Diablo 4 exist in the ARPG? Well, first off, they're definitely not trying to be Path of Exile. And I know a lot of people are trying to turn it into that, but yeah, they're trying to make like, the easy entry point. They want to have like some customization, but they don't want to make it overwhelming. If you look at the talent tree, it basically just represents that. You just go down the skill tree, right? You put some points in, you have a couple different options on a cluster. It's not really too confusing at all. And then later on, they have like further customization via Paragon board. There's no crafting in the game, which I actually thought was really, really surprising because Diablo 3 even had like basic crafting. But it did introduce the occultist, which kind of like you could like manipulate gear. I don't know if you guys have been playing Diablo 4 beta also, right?
Yeah.
So the occultist is kind of just like your basic rudimentary crafting system, you find like a good base on the ground, but for whatever reason, they don't have any like type of loot filters that let you like search for certain things, right? So you'll be looking for like a rare with like 2 good mods. And then, so you just have to hover over everything. And then you go to the cultists, and then you can reroll one of the mods. Then you can like go to the blacksmith and like enhance it to like increase the power level and the attributes on a little bit. And then you go get you find an aspect on the ground with the legendary power that you want, or you run a dungeon and then you attach it to it. And then that's pretty much it, right? That's how you basically make your gear set. And everything in the game is pretty much enabled by legendary powers. It's not just like you just go pick up rares. I guess, well, certain classes are really, really strong right now. So no matter what, right, you're just there, right? And you just have some rares and you're absolutely demolishing early game. But majority of classes are fully enabled by legendary powers. So you have to have that synergy, but they don't control your character as much as they did in Diablo 3, which I think is good. I'm really happy that they moved away from like all those sets that just give you the huge damage bonuses that control your entire aspect of your build.
Yeah, that define the character.
So that's really ultimately what matters in ARPGs to me, is your creativity of making your build and the fantasy of getting more powerful and just being able to experiment with stuff.
So maybe the question is, like, Diablo 4 obviously very much so catering to the masses. Does it have enough to cater to the PoE folk, the hardcore of hardcore folk? Is the big question, right? Because we haven't really seen the end game yet, so we don't know.
I think this question they said is going to be answered in the developer interview after this beta is over. It is a little concerning, though, that they haven't really been bragging about or showcasing the end game, because I don't know if you guys know the history of Diablo 3. The Diablo 3 early beta, it was really well, right? It was praised.
Yeah.
But all they did was show up to the Skeleton King. So they showed Act 1, a portion of Act 1, and people were like, oh, the combat's cool. The graphics look very, very modern. Everything's fluid. It's like somewhat tactical. And then, after the full Diablo 3 classic came out, people were like, this is not what we expected. There's nothing to do end game. The build variety, not that good. Drop rate's bad. So
yeah, D3 had a rough launch for sure. A lot of those
it
issues
got better over time. Yeah.
A lot of those issues were like hidden. Is kind of, I think, what you're hitting at, because we just didn't know after Leoric what it was going to look like, right? Like how everything was going to shape out.
100%.
Yeah, I know for me and Co, and I guess you could lump us in compared to mods. I will definitely say you can lump us into like the casual crew, right? Like the folks that are
casual to slightly above casual.
Yeah. But I think we both had a good time with it. And it seems like most people are having a good time with it. It's just a question of like, what else is there, right? Like it's
been fun. Like when I go to sleep, I'm waking up the next morning. I'm like, I want to go play some more Diablo 4. It definitely has its faults, but I think the game's absolutely beautiful. I think it's the best looking ARPG title out there right now. The combat's good. There's some skills that need some like visual overhauls and stuff. There's like some boss abilities that, there's like things that need to be fixed and changed and adjusted. They don't got a lot of time to do it, but yeah, it's a fun game to play.
Yeah.
Now, the question is how long you're going to play it for, though.
Right. And they might be banking on the fact that there's, it's that open world. So they're going to go and do what open world games do, and that's add a ton of things on the map that you can go and collect. Different, what are they calling them? The things
your renown.
Well, there's map renown for the zones. There's the little dungeons that unlock the different aspects that you can put on your items. Like, there's a lot of things to go and grind. It's just like after we do that for the 15th, 30th time, is it still going to be like, are we still going to be having fun? Right? Like, that's the big question, I think, ultimately.
Yeah. Or if the entire end game is just going to be harder versions of the dungeons we already cleared if we did a map completion on the way up.
Right.
Yeah. The funniest thing about the clip that you're showing, the reason why I had to go back to town there is because the game actually bugged out. And like as you're traversing through the regions, how they do like, they're meshing like different worlds and servers. Yeah. A lot of times you can't get over obstacles or two areas and it won't load. So you have to go back to town and re-come to the area to make stuff load. And that was a huge problem. I don't know if you guys were like running to invisible walls and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Desync. And like randomly world boss or world events just disappear because too many people came onto your server shard. You're like, what the heck is this?
Yeah. Specifically, the east exit out of the main town was always bugged.
Oh yeah, going out the main gate. Yeah, the main gate ended up being the back gate.
Yeah,
it was not very cinematic main gate at all.
I felt really bad yesterday because I was walking around level 25 just trying to get to somewhere. And there was a level 5 player that was right next to that wall with me. And they kept doing the same exact thing where they were just running in place against the invisible barrier. And they typed like, hey, is this bugged for you? I was like, yeah, this is happening. He goes, man, I just downloaded this today. This sucks. And I'm like, yeah, well, you might want to try going into town and like going north or trying to go around some type of deal. He's like, oh, I'll try that type of deal. He just walked off. But not a great experience when the main exit out of town is having that occur. That's for sure. I'm curious, Mods, Druid that's like your go-to class. This is the one you were one to play, right?
Oh yeah. So I played a lot of Diablo 2, 10 to 1,000 hours, like my main game when I was a kid with all my friends when I was growing up and stuff. You know, we would like theory craft at school and everything, and then we'd get home, we'd like go to each other's houses, and we'd like do our farm routes and stuff. So Druid for me was my most anticipated character. I never played it like during like the NDA beta and stuff like that and the media betas, and I finally got to play it this weekend.
Yeah.
I was so sad.
I was waiting for it.
I thought this was going to be a good story.
I was waiting for it.
I hate it now.
My God.
Yeah.
Did they drop the ball on... Okay, so Druid in Diablo 2 was never like the strongest character. It was kind of like the jack of all trades if you're playing a hard group and like hardcore mode. It had like Oak, a bunch of like, you know, like health benefits for your party, so it's kind of like needed class. So damage was always like mediocre. It was never super insane, even if you like built up like a fully Enigma, Elite Druid and stuff like that, and you had all your skillers and stuff. Yeah. It wasn't the best killer, but it provided like utility via pets that would take aggro and it would give a bunch of health to everybody. Yeah, Diablo 4 Druid early game is rough. I don't know who tested like the early game balancing, but comparative to every other character, it felt so bad. The base skills and core damage skills. Someone showed me a screenshot, right? So you have your generator on your Diablo 4 Druid, and then you have your core skill spender, whichever it might be. It might be like a tornado or an earth spike, or it might be like a pulverize from a bear. Someone showed me a clip of Necromancer, which I haven't played yet.
Oh, I would not play it after playing. You're going to get upset.
They showed me this clip, right? And they have like one summonable skeleton, right? And it's hitting for as much as my spender on my Druid at the time, right? Like you don't have any legendary synergy. This is your base character when you just start the game. Where I'm like whacking this mob, building up my spirit. It doesn't have any base spirit regen. I cast my skill. The mob only gets chunked like 1/3 of its health. And then I'm like, man, this doesn't seem right. And then shows me a clip of Necromancer, just a skeleton there, just one-shotting everything. I'm like, how does this even balance? Like, why is the skeleton doing more damage than my Druid spender?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they definitely have some early game balancing that they need to do, I think.
Yeah,
to say the least.
I have not played Druid. I played Necro. Co, did you play Druid?
I did. I was actually in the same boat as Mods. I was really excited to play it. I thought it could be super cool. I was jazzed for it, and then I played it and was just very, very underwhelmed.
Yeah.
The keyword is underwhelmed. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good. I played it until about 15, and then I was like, okay, I want to play a Necro. Because I had a really good time with Sork, and I think I've now settled on Rogue as my main, but was not really feeling it at all. Yeah, I was very sad about that.
A few years ago, I first picked up Diablo 2 for, I can't remember what reason. It might have been for a CD-ROM thing or whatever. But my ears perked up because I was like, Skeleton, Necro. Hey, I know that. I get that reference. I played that in Diablo for my one and only playthrough of Diablo 2. And I'm happy to hear that it's OP. It's great. Excellent.
Yeah, Necro is crazy strong.
Necro's in a good spot.
Necro and Sork are just stupid good, and then Rogue has a couple stupid good builds. And then what's even weirder, okay, this drives me crazy about the beta. So I think it's the lead director, somebody on Twitter, sends this message, this direct tweet to him, and they say, hey, so I've noticed that uniques are dropping all the time. Like, is this a beta thing? And he replies to the guy, and
Yeah.
he says, yes, we have increased the drop rate of uniques to give you a quote, a more full beta experience. And I was like, that's cool. Yet you didn't let 2 of your 5 classes specialize for your full beta experience. Like, and literally they're the 2 weakest classes. So now nobody knows, like, are they weak because they're specialized? Are they weak because they're just not tuned and they didn't do the work to do that? Like, it's this really weird, like, if you wanted a full beta experience, why are you gimping the 2 weakest classes? Like, that's so weird. Just put an NPC in the town that you talk to and get the specialization for beta, or something like that. So it's very weird. So now everyone is like, there are these multiple camps. There's 3 main camps. There is Druid and Barbarian suck, and there's some good arguments to the fact that those are also the 2 classes that both have to gain their resource. Sorc, Necro, and Rogue all passively gain their resource. So as they're dodging AoEs, as they're moving around, they're gaining resources so they can then spend them when they have the chance to. Whereas Druid and Barbarian, when they're evading bosses and AoEs and stuff, they're not gaining their resource. And then in many cases, they're losing their gained resource. So it's like a double whammy of suck. And then they have to run into a threatened area right next to a boss to then gain more resource and even do damage. So there's the first camp, those 2 classes suck. Then there's the second camp where it's, well, we don't know if they suck because we didn't specialize.
Right.
They could be great. And then there's the third camp where it's, all of you just shut the up. This is level 25. None of this means anything. And those 2 classes are designed to be sucky early game because they're a lot stronger as you get closer to end game. And that then brings up the argument, well, why? Why do they have to have sucky 1 through 25 experiences if they're stronger at the end?
Yeah.
Like it. So there's all sorts of weird stuff going on with this. It's brought up a lot of very strange questions. I know that it does kind of invalidate any discussion on if they're good or not when you don't have one of their backbone traits, which is specialization.
Very true.
So it's just a weird situation, man.
Yeah. I think like the conversation, that's exactly right, Co. The conversation is, no matter what I want to say, it ends with, in the current beta.
Yeah, it all ends with, but we don't know.
But we don't know in the current beta.
Any direction ends with, but we don't know, and we won't know until the game comes out.
I guess you could say, like, statements like, Druid feels really bad in the first 25 levels. That's probably or in the first 15 levels, I guess, because we get the spec point at 15.
Yes, that's where you're good, because nothing's really going to change for that. So that's kind of the discussion people should be having. How do the classes feel to get from 1 to 15?
Yeah.
And specifically, like, not with the perfect builds. Like, because you got to remember, and Mods brought up a really good point. This game is aimed towards a more casual audience. So this isn't aimed towards people who are going to be respecking to get the perfect skill and group of skills every time. Like, they're wanting players to be able to relatively easily, like, get through the game. This isn't a Path of Exile. This is a Diablo IV that's been even more streamlined in some cases. So the idea that, like, when I first played a couple of the classes, the Rogue particularly, I did my Rogue without using the twisting daggers at the beginning, and dude, he was just bad. Like, I literally got to a boss that there was nothing I could do to beat him, and he was just a side quest boss of my level. And it's like, there's literally nothing I can do to beat him. The Den Mother, for those that don't know, if you're not playing a class that's somewhat mobile, and my big spendability was parking myself in one place and doing not that much damage in front of me very fast. And it's like, while I'm doing that, she's just wailing on me, like destroying me, and it's just like, well, guess I'll die then.
Yeah.
So it's there's some weird decisions with this game. And I have to admit, it feels like at the end of the day, there's some stuff that just hasn't been well tested. Be it boss or character centric.
Yeah.
They did say that this beta build is an old build. I think the lead director, but they didn't really give more information than that. They didn't say like how many changes that they made.
Right.
Yeah. The early game experience should be good for everybody, though. Like, people make comparisons to Diablo 2. Like, Diablo 2 had the same thing. Certain builds didn't evolve once you got certain rune words and certain synergies and stuff. But it's a modern title where, like, all characters should perform at a decently efficient level or through the leveling experience. They shouldn't be gimped until later on.
Yeah. No,
but also to be fair, I was just gonna say, to be fair, every beta's on an old build. That's what they say for every single beta.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
Kind of covers their ass a little bit.
It does.
However, Druid, I ended up putting a lot of time into it. And I did find some viable builds where I ended up playing like a pulverized build and a wind build. And, I encountered the Butcher and I was just able to face tank it. It was extremely defensive. Based on what I saw with Druid endgame-wise, like once you got your legendary synergy, then aspects acquired and you got your build going, I could see Druid being one of the best hardcore characters in Diablo 4, potentially at endgame. Because their boons have all been data mined, so you can see what they are. And basically how the Druid system works is there's like 4 different animals that you specialize into, and there's different nodes that you select through the bonuses. So you got like 4 different animals, and each animal has 4 different passives that you can select. And then you put 1 into each point that's more specialized your build for whatever you're doing. And then one of the animals you can put 2 points into. So you basically get 5 additional passives as a Druid, which is pretty huge to not have into the beta. And then for Barbarian, right, you have like the weapon synergy stuff that makes it really strong. Yeah, once I got my legendary synergy, and it kind of seemed like for Druid, every single skill, there was like 3 legendary that gave it huge damage multipliers, almost Diablo 3-ish, where you would have to get like an item for, let's say, Pulverize. It was like 100% damage increase, 250% damage increase, and it did a cascade. Yeah, it felt kind of like Diablo 3, where it was giving these huge bonuses, but the builds do work. I was just hitting for 10s, 20,000 damage, one-shot entire packs, able to phase tank the Butcher and kill it on the Druid. No problem at all.
Yeah. Well,
eventually,
the scary part of that, I guess, is with that the tweet from Rod Ferguson about legendary drop rates being increased. You won't have those until potentially end game, right? So does that just mean Druid's going to be bad until you hit 50 and start seeing more legendaries? If you don't have access to that type of stuff? I don't know.
They said there was going to be like a 3-time multiplier on legendary drop for the beta. So yeah, Druid, regardless, it's going to feel wonky and not too good with its current tuning early on. And who knows how long you're going to have to struggle for.
Yeah. Just one of those things we'll have to see.
Have they talked at all about how they're going to handle like player item trading and such?
They did, yes.
What's their plan for that? I haven't actually looked into that at all.
So you're going to be able to trade gold. You're going to be able to trade all items up to rare. So basically your basis for making legendaries, and then all your different tiers of legendary, sacred legendary, the ancestral legendary, and unique items will not be tradable. You have to find all those yourself. And basically the main difference between like a rare and like a legendary is legendary's got 1 more attribute. So, you can make any rare item into a legendary, but it'll only have 3 affixes. But if you find an actual legendary, it got 4 affixes, then you got sacred, and then you got like all these other tiers of legendaries. And then uniques are supposed to be really, really build defining stuff that you could equip that they haven't really showcased yet.
Yeah. So in other words, if I'm playing a Druid and my buddy's playing a Druid and I get like 2 of an item, I can't just give him that one of those items if it's a legendary?
No. That's their plan so far. They don't want you trading those more powerful items. They want you finding them.
Right. I guess that still opens enough for like some sort of player economy, but not enough to where people can just like, is that a form of them combating RMT?
The funniest thing this weekend, I was playing last night, there was already websites advertising gold selling and item selling in games. So I think it might be like an anti-botting protocol, but
real money transaction.
RMT,
real money trade.
Gold so far had like such a high value. I don't know if you guys ran into it. It's like one of your main resources that like halts your progress, right? You're doing your enhancements on your gear, you're doing the reroll and aspect transfers.
I think it's expensive.
Always out of gold,
300,000 or 400,000 for some of those like 3rd and 4th.
Ooh.
I think it's the 4th upgrade on a weapon was like 400,000.
So they're already like websites advertising in the in-game chat selling gold. So
that's gonna happen.
Those people work so quick, man.
That's an entire industry.
It's a whole industry, dude.
Yeah,
it's a whole industry.
It's massive.
There's literally rented out buildings with like hundreds of people in them in different games doing that under one umbrella company.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's also wild to think. And Mods, I'm curious how like hardcore you went. I ran into a dude on Friday who was playing clearly his character from the first weekend. His name was Kratos. He looked like Kratos. He was a barbarian. He had every weapon slot upgraded to 4. He had the Butcher unique. And he was just like, a monster. Like it was like the most decked out character I've ever seen. That shit's gone in 24 hours. It's not going to exist anymore. Like how hardcore were you going this beta?
Oh, I love doing the build experimentation, exploring. So yeah, I've been playing like 15, 16, 18 hours a day. I love doing it. It's not like your bread and butter ARPG player. Like we're used to seasonal resets. We're used to re-leveling characters. We're used to re-gearing characters. And that's like a part of the hardcore ARPG group. That's what we enjoy doing.
Yeah.
It's just min-maxing, theory crafting, finding like synergies, finding bug stuff, finding, things that might give you advantage when the ladder comes out.
Are you going to go like the 4x upgrade on every item? Or are you just more interested in finding the build things out there?
I'm not trying to do the 4x upgrade. I'll just go into 3 times on some of the stuff. I enjoy the build. But yeah, just kind of playing all the characters and trying out the different sets and trying different skills. I don't want to force myself to just play one skill just because I like it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just play everything, right? And get a feel for everything.
Yeah.
Now,
just be as thorough as possible.
Are you one of the hardcore runners? Do you always do hardcore, that kind of thing?
Depending on the game, like Path of Exile, yeah, hardcore is Soul Self-Found, by the way. Diablo 2 hardcore. Diablo 3, I don't really like hardcore.
Yeah, but do you drive a Prius? That's the so for Diablo Diablo 4.
a Monster Miata.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
So with Diablo 4, are you doing softcore to start with?
No, I'm gonna be doing hardcore to start off with.
Really? So even into like the unknown territory.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun. It's like doing like an extreme sport for me. It's like exhilarating. You might die, but I like the sense that you could lose your character and you have to pay attention and play well.
How do you feel about hardcore in Diablo 4? Like, is it fine? With World Rank 2, can you even experience it at all?
Real quick.
No, not really.
Before we what is the appeal? Because that was a question I've been waiting, because of waiting for a momentary pause or something. But since you brought it up, what is the appeal of hardcore over something else? Or
the general accepted thing is the length and girth of your e-penis.
Yeah. Yep.
Is it just straight up bragging rights, or
I think so.
Yeah. You get more rewards for doing hardcore.
Nope. Okay. No extra drop rates, no extra anything.
No.
And in Diablo 4, unlike Path of Exile or anything, in hardcore in Diablo 4 is it deletes your character. So when you
they
die,
don't even put it into
gone.
software.
It doesn't drop you. Nope, drops you right. It puts you in like the Hall of Heroes or something, and you're dead.
Do you still have a shared stash, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you have a shared stash, so you can hoard gear and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, for you, for hardcore, like, how do you feel about hardcore in Diablo 4?
Oh well, there's
especially since it locks you in boss
boss
encounters.
Oh no, there's actually the scrolls in hardcore that you could acquire and that allow you to auto teleport out. There's a special currency in hardcore. You could assign this scroll to your Hot Wheel, so you have that little I call it the console wheel, like where you pull it up and you do like your modes, so you can leave dungeons and stuff and reset stuff. Hardcore mode had like an instantaneous teleportation thing, and supposedly it's supposed to activate if you disconnect.
Oh God.
I didn't. So it's almost like a built-in logout macro, but I don't think it was working.
Wait! Really? Where do you get that in the game? All my
it just drops.
I've never seen that anywhere.
They're limited. The scroll. Wait, so you've been playing hardcore and you didn't notice the scroll? It's like it goes into one of your inventory tabs. Your 4 inventory tabs. It just goes in there, and you can bind it to one of your wheel functions, and you just hit a hotkey and auto boom out.
Wait. You're going to watch Kobe real sad here real quick. It's going to be great.
He doesn't believe you.
You probably have some on your character. You just didn't notice it. Because it's not like it doesn't just go in there. It's like it's hidden off.
Where does
you have to look around for it?
Where do they drop from? Is it just a random drop?
Yeah, it just randomly drops in the world. Yeah, you just get it from doing stuff. I didn't see an NPC. Yeah, I didn't see an NPC that.
Hold on, I'm totally firing up I've still got a 25 Sork. Let me see if he's got it. I'm super interested now.
Yeah, with that scroll, I didn't know about that scroll. What does the hardcore community think about that? Because it is a built-in logout macro in a lot of ways, right?
I think they generally accept it because in Diablo 4, from what we've seen, classes don't have like a cheat death, right? So like Path of Exile, you don't really got cheat deaths. Diablo 3, every class usually has not even just one cheat death, but multiple cheat deaths. So it does if you die, it prevents your death.
Oh, okay.
So like Diablo 3, right? If you die, you don't actually die and you recover HP. And usually people just run to town. They're like, oh shit, I almost died. My cooldown is on my cheat death. I'm running to town. I'm just going to hide there in safety until it goes away. And then once their cheat death comes off cooldown, they go and fight stuff again. Sometimes if you're like really pushing like rifts in Diablo 3, you'll keep on continuing when your cheat death procs if you know you're not going to die. But most of the time you just you die or almost die, then you flee back to town.
Yeah.
Diablo 4, most classes don't seem to have a cheat death besides Source.
Okay.
I just checked all of my hardcore characters. You're talking about the same place where potions are, right? Consumables?
Yeah, it's in your little tab in your inventory, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen one of those drop.
You never got a single scroll
of something? No.
Yeah, I don't know the specific name. Yeah, it's like a little scroll thing. I got boot at my Diablo and tell you the exact name.
Oh, chat's saying that they're a super rare drop.
Yeah.
It's cool that they're rare. I like that they are rare. And
wow, yeah, I've only been playing hardcore characters. I don't think I've ever seen one. I think I would have noticed that if I would have picked it up. It's like that was I try to read everything I pick up at least, so
yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's like your oh shit button.
Scroll of escape, and I've gotten one of them. So it's crazy. A scroll of escape. Interesting.
So then,
that's cool. I had no idea. So those instantly teleport you to the town, I guess.
Yep. So if you're locked in an encounter, or if you like encounter some affixes, or the butcher runs up on you, and you're like, "Man, my build's not ready for this," you can just scroll of escape out.
That is super interesting. That is wild. I had no idea.
But it's like they don't want you using it all the time. It's like that oh shit button. You're like, oh yeah.
It's to save to go into if you know a hard encounter is about to occur, you could go farm and try to get one of those. Are they tradable? Mods? Do you know if you can trade those? The scroll.
I didn't ever try to. I didn't ever try to trade.
I don't know if you can trade consumables.
But yeah, I don't. I actually don't know the answer to that. I never tried to trade any of them.
See if Chad has any.
It seems like something of that nature that would in hardcore that would save your ass. They would put like a big fanfare hey, look at this.
Somebody in chat confirmed it's a white item on the ground too. It's not like a rare or anything. So I don't know.
Chad is saying you can trade consumables, but they do not know about the scroll. I think if you could trade that scroll, that's going to become like a very hot commodity within.
That would be incredibly, yeah.
Right, like the RMT folk are just like, we need some of these fucking scrolls right now.
I know, right?
We got to get those.
Get out of jail free cards, man.
Yeah. Did you get any of the uniques, mods, or even coded? Did either of you see any of the uniques? I think Butcher drops one. I also saw there was like a necklace, but I have no idea where it drops from. I don't know if that's even droppable or if that was just data mined from the. A
lot of legendaries. Beta. I don't think any uniques.
Or not. Yeah. Mods, did you get?
Yeah, no. I killed the Butcher 4 times yesterday on my Druid. I didn't get the Butcher sickle once. Okay. Yeah, so the drop rate on them is definitely pretty low.
Yeah.
It's not high.
Yeah. And then what did you play?
You're asking you played a lot of this, yeah?
Yeah. I'm doing the interviewer thing where I act stupid. But yeah.
Well, how about you though? Did you get any good stuff? Let me interview you, JP.
No, I didn't get any uniques. The only thing I saw was that Kratos guy who was a god and just had like every rare item that I've ever seen and the unique rare. Like it was insane. He was crazy.
Now, does that strike you as someone who is just hardcore playing it, or someone who paid for like?
Oh, they were just playing massive amounts. Yeah. They were
something you can really buy right now.
They were just.
So the trade stuff you're talking is not up yet.
Yeah. Well, nobody's going to real money trade in. Well, maybe some super rich dumb people, but everything's going to be erased in beta. So yeah, like
you just answered you answered my own question. Like, yeah, super rich dumb people. I was wondering if that guy was one of those.
He might have been.
And I wouldn't say dumb. I would say like passionate.
Yeah,
because we talked about how much money we spend on these things.
That's true. Yeah.
The difference is most of the stuff we buy doesn't get erased at the end of the weekend.
It just gets forgotten about. Yeah. That's how it works.
It gets replaced with the next cool thing that you put over top of it. Like oh, these wings are done. How much you pay for them? Let's not talk about it. I got new ones now. Look at these ones.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I played, so I didn't get a chance to play it all last weekend. I was taking a family trip. I played Necro this weekend. I played a little bit of Sork, enough to be like, oh, Sork is absolutely broken with Chain Lightning. This is incredible. I got to go get on a flight. And so Necro is where I went this weekend. And the reason, Mods, I was telling you don't play Necro is like, I didn't go the meta build that everyone was doing, where you do the like blood surge. I forgot what it's called. Where you use that ability and it pops any corpses and corpse explodes them and reduces the cooldown. That is like, that is obscenely
legendary
broken.
Thing.
That is just like this. That is 100% not making it to the live game. No way, no chance in hell. I just went passives on all my pets and then got the legendaries to give me more like skeletal minions and skeletal mages. I just walked around, let my pets do everything. It was great. I didn't have any issues. I was running into bosses and just standing there while the pets like completely soloed them down in like pretty fast amounts of time. And I had a fantastic time. I had a bunch of people in my chat saying that they were like, quote unquote, breaking NDA. But apparently you can't do that at the end game. The pets just die, which makes a lot of sense, right? Like that's following the other iterations of Necromancer. Makes sense that you're just going to have your pets die once you hit end game. But if that's how it is for like leveling, I could totally see anyone doing that, just getting a shit ton of pets, walking around and killing everything and having a blast. It's a complete opposite experience from what I'm watching you do here on Druid, where you're having to like do everything. You're trying so hard to take.
Yeah, I think this was when I was trying to set up like the new build, and I got actually set up. This was like the pulverized build, and then it was doing a lot of damage afterwards.
Yeah, is pulverized the one? Yeah. That's like the one attack that does a lot of damage, right? When you build
big
up
AoE
to it.
bear slam, right?
Yeah,
yeah, big AoE bear slam. Yeah, I had like 3 legendary that give it synergy, like turn it into an earth elemental skill. Like boots that give it plus levels. I had like +9 level to pulverize. So yeah, I was doing hefty damage.
Nice. I
was doing some good damage after you invested into it.
What did you play on the first weekend, Mods? Class-wise?
Everything.
Okay. Yeah. Did you have a favorite out of Rogue, Barb, and Sork?
By far, Rogue. I just loved how nimble and quick and agile it was.
Yep.
There is no bad build, right? Like you were able to scale up. You're able to scale up barrage and rapid fire and flurry. Everything was good. There are some bugs with flurry though. When you got this AoE that made it like an AoE attack instead of a single target attack, and it wouldn't actually hit or do application based dots. And there was like this ring that would give you dodge if you had damage over time effects on enemies, and he made you 100% immortal. So people were using that. But yeah, I loved how Rogue played. If I end up not liking Druid or they don't like change something to Druid, I'll probably main Rogue. It's so fun to play.
How do they handle the weapons on Rogue? Because like Barbarian has 4 weapons. Does Rogue, having not played it at all, do you get 2 daggers or 2 swords and then a bow, or what? How are they handling that?
Yeah, so you have 3 weapons. You could use whatever you want. They have different implicits. You use daggers, or you can use swords, and they can either use a crossbow or a bow. And they just had different implicit bonuses on it: damage to close targets, critical hit damage. But you couldn't really scale like critical hit damage 2 or critical hit chance 2 insane during the beta. But yeah, overall, yeah, Rogue felt really, really good.
Okay. Would you say, Mods? I'm curious. Melee classes in Diablo have always been pretty item dependent just because of how they function. Do you think, like, does Rogue follow that formula as well, kind of like Barbarian?
No, there's a couple like leveling skills that were definitely superior for Rogue. Like Twisting Blades was probably by far my best experience with leveling. You would just attack a mob, dash away, and it died. And then there was the legendary power that gave you like a little blade storm thing.
Is that what we're... And what are these swirly things around? This is the first time I'm seeing Rogue, so I'm just going to ask all the stupid questions. What are these swirly things around you, Co? What ability is that? Do you know?
That is the... I don't remember the exact name, but it's basically something where you summon 5 little shadow orbs, and they give you a bit of, I think it's physical resistance, and then every time you get hit, it drops down. You can upgrade it to make it so each one adds movement speed. There's a chance that they won't get removed when you get hit, that kind of thing. So it's a defensive ability primarily.
Okay, gotcha.
It's called Dark Shroud.
Dark Shroud, cool.
Yep. Yeah, dude, Rogue gets just crazy good. Like I was having so much fun with my Rogue before I ran him into a group of mobs and killed him. At the end of last beta. But like literally with the shadow imbuement where enemies just kind of pop when they die. That with jacking up twinning blades, you jab your blades into something and then they follow you and do damage to everything in between, and then you can dash your enemies to do damage to other stuff as well. So you jab your shadow imbued blades into somebody, and then you dash through a group of mobs, and as the blades come back and kill them, they all start popping and doing damage to each other. So like the entire group of mobs just explodes, and then you just keep running. And the best part is you're always moving, which is what I absolutely loved about the class. It combines like fun melee with high damage and high movement. And I liked Barbarian because I liked melee. Melee in this game is fun, but the problem is you had no damage and then barely any movement. So it's kind of like this takes the fun part of a melee class and the high DPS of a caster class and puts it in like one nice little mobile package, which is why Rogue is just awesome right now.
Yeah. I played a little bit of Barbarian last night, having not played it before. I kind of cheated because I had stash gear, and so like I hit 14 or some level and jumped up like 300 DPS on a weapon that I had from that level 35 elite on the west southwest corner, and like it felt so great. Like I would just walk up to a boss and like hit it once with the bleed, and then the bleed bar would fill the entire bar, and I would just walk away, and it would die after that. It felt really good. Obviously, that's not the experience I'm going to get while leveling for the first time because I won't have access to like, those type of items. But I had a good time playing it. I will most likely start Barbarian. I felt the kind of like what Ko was saying, the melee aspect or the physicality aspect. It felt good just walking up and attacking things. And I didn't even get any of the abilities apart from Rend or Bleed. I was just walking around Thorns, and that was also cool because you just don't have to do anything and mobs just attack you and fall over.
You were playing the Thorns build on your Barb.
Yeah, and it felt
you
great.
Like that?
It was fantastic. I had some gear saved up for my Necro that had Thorns on it, and then I had the legendary that makes Thorns AoE like a 60% chance or something. So when a mob triggers your Thorns, it triggers all the other mobs around you as well, or something like that. It was awesome. It was
Thorns is
so
damage
cool.
shield, right?
Yeah. That's what I ended up doing on my. That's what I did on my hardcore Barb, and I actually like that. And and for me, for Barb specifically, I had to play Lunge Strike because it had like lower mobility. But with Lunge Strike, like your basic attack, you would just dash around like crazy to all mobs. So you'd just be dashing around the battlefield and just using the mobs to teleport. It kind of felt like Rogue a little bit when he did that. But then you just reflect kill everything.
Yeah. The reflect stuff felt great.
Yeah, Lunge Strike for me almost like felt mandatory on Barb when leveling because you just kept on having all the bosses that would constantly try to combat your advances to get close to them to attack them. And you did have like leap and you did have charge and you did have stuff to close that gap. But yeah, for leveling, Barb using Lunge Strike, it made the experience a lot better instead of just slowly moseying over to the mob and trying to generate.
I think I'm like 18, so I didn't cap out at 25, but I might I don't know if you guys found this, but when I was playing the game, when I first started playing, I was like, all right, I'm going to go into every cave and unlock everything. And I'm going to like, I did all the side quests. I did all the main quest stuff. And then as I'm like kind of towards the tail end of that, I'm like, why the fuck am I doing? This is all getting reset. Why am I trying to min-max and do everything in this stupid beta when it's all just going away? And I even admit that. And I'll be like, yeah, I'll log in tonight and try to probably hit 25 on Barb for some reason. Is that just like the pull of the game being fun to play? I think that speaks good things. That's not a bad thing that the game's making me do that.
The game feels really good. That's one of the best things this game has going for it. It's beautiful. The music is incredible. The cinematics are awesome. It's the animations all connect really well. The sound effects are good. Like it's one of those like going in the beta last weekend, and I went back to Last Epoch. I really liked Last Epoch for the mechanic aspect. In fact, I think I prefer it over Diablo. At the same time, like the presentation and all that kind of the playability is a big factor. in Diablo 4, and it's one of the things that I think kind of sets it apart as a AAA ARPG. It just plays really well.
Yeah. Mods, how do you feel?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much normal with Blizzard titles.
That's
hit
true.
and miss for like what you actually do for extended period of time or quality of raids and stuff like that. But all that other stuff, like the base of a game, they always excel on it, and they definitely hit that point on Diablo 4. You could call it like, something mobily or maybe like something like constantly, the elements, the UI UX stuff, but overall the game looks beautiful, and everything else Ko said is definitely extremely true about it. Even if the game isn't good at the end game, you'll probably still get a good campaign experience through it, and you'll still have the seasonal reset. They said they did want to continue adding content to the game in form of the seasons, and lead guy Joe Shelley, he said they're going to be meaty, they're going to be big. We want to treat it the true live service game and constantly add stuff to that. I hope everything he's saying is true.
Yeah,
that would be sick.
We're going to get our paid expansions.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Paladin, we're probably going to see like all these classes come down and paid expansions and everything too. So
yeah.
That's pretty funny to say that. Someone had asked me yesterday, they're like, what's the difference between Rogue and Amazon? Like, why didn't they give us Amazon? I told them $70.
You're not wrong. You're totally not wrong about that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. They definitely have some classes that they could. 5 classes is not that many classes, is what I will say.
Nope. So
we will see classes being added over time for sure.
5 classes and no subclasses.
What the hell is this? I've never seen that happen.
Oh, so that's a super cool aspect. So if you see that little sign on the ground, there are a handful of those throughout the game, and anytime you go on top of them and hit F, then it will like tilt your camera and kind of cinematically look at whatever you see ahead of you. It's a very cool feature, and most of the time they're very like highly detailed and cool looking models.
Yeah, I didn't even know that existed. I didn't see any of the cutscenes. I was just hammering. I was escaping because I wanted to save it for release. So I don't even know like story or any of that apart from what you play.
You didn't watch the cinematics, or
I didn't see any of the
stuff your first time?
No.
Oh man,
I skipped it all.
You're missing out on some good voice acting and cutscenes, and there's already the lore community is going crazy about some of their analysis stuff on different. I don't want to really ruin any of it, but yeah, people are already discussing where they think the story is going to go and who's going to be all the secret protagonists and antagonist people, and who's going to be.
Wait, this game has a story?
Yeah. It's actually
it's
pretty good story. Yeah, like
it's and the cutscenes and stuff in this game are awesome. And I think I don't remember. I think it was Skill Up who said that they were taking a darker angle in it. This game is gory, and it is brutal. Like they do not hold anything back. There are some very very dark, very brutal, very visceral things that happen in the game that are highly entertaining.
Yeah, I like. For all the PoE conversations that we have, Zeke, and you not being interested in it, Diablo 4 is that bridge that you should probably play this game.
Even if you just play it through for the story, like in the cutscenes and stuff.
Totally.
Like, I bet you'd have a great time. Absolutely.
I think you would as well, Zeke. I think you would have an absolute blast.
Have you ever played Diablo 1, Zeke, or Diablo 2?
I played Diablo 2, yeah.
Okay.
I think I played up to, and I was going to mention this, like, one of the other things that I found out, hold on, this is bugging me real quick. There we go. One of the other things that I heard and I wanted to like jump in was people were saying Necro was no good on bosses, and I was like, yeah, I remember that. I mean, I breezed through Diablo 2 with Necro and then like Corpse Explosion and all that shit, and then I got to boss, like I never beat Diablo. I never like defeated it because like Corpse Explosion it didn't work very well, like not a lot of corpses to explode and shit like that. So that was one thing. But the other thing is, yes, I played through Diablo 2, and I have no desire like to check out the beta for that reason. If I'm going to play it, it's because I'll wait for the full release of it.
Yeah,
like I don't need to check it out early. It was the same with there was another like hype. It was RE4. I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
They had the demo or whatever.
Oh, right. I didn't play it either.
Chainsaw something or other, like Chainsaw storyline, or I don't know what that meant, but
yeah.
I didn't play it because I knew I'd be playing the full thing anyways. So yeah, if I'm going to play this, it'll be when it's completely out. And now, quick question. Forgive my ignorance. Do you have to play this online? Like, does it have to be?
Yes.
Diablo
You
4,
have
yeah.
to be connected.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
100%. You have to be connected. The
Yeah.
other selling point, Zeke, and a lot of people are pointing it out in chat. Diablo 3 introduced controller support, and a lot of people are like, "That's stupid. Why would I play an ARPG?" And having played it on the Switch and played it with a controller multiple times, it's probably one of the best implementations of like a controller and an ARPG. I had a bunch of people that played the first beta fully on mouse and keyboard, and they're like, "Yeah, of course I'm gonna do that." Blah blah blah. They plugged in the controller, and they're like, "I'm never gonna go back to mouse and keyboard after playing it on controller."
Dude, I was who validated me? Who validated controller people on Twitter? Who was that?
I don't know.
Was it Goth or was it?
Might have been. That sounds like Goth might have been that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw like a big name. Yeah, it was Gathalion. Good. Okay. I saw a big name going like controller's the bar for this, and I was like, okay, good. I don't have to feel stupid if I try with controller. Excellent. Great.
In a lot of ways, I mean, Mods, I would love for you to weigh on in on this and Co as well. Like, this game is like made with that in mind, right? Like it's shipping on consoles, and so almost everything they did had the idea of like, how do we make this work on a console at the same time? And so it's a factor in the UI. It's a factor in everything, for better or worse, right? For the console crowd, that's great, and it works great. I did see a lot of people saying like, "Oh, well, this is only this way because of the console crowd."
The only thing I would be concerned about with controller would be the fucking Tetris like item.
Oh, there is no Tetris.
Jostling.
It's just an item in an inventory. Like, see right there, all the things are the same size.
Oh, they just have their own individual squares.
A ring and a pair of pants and a two-hand sight are all the same size.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. Which
Good.
also
okay, cool.
a change. Like Mods, I'm curious, how do you feel about all that?
Oh no, it definitely feels like a lot of the design decisions for maybe some of the worst design decisions were basically made because of consoles, right? Because it is going to be cross-platform. They're a huge focus on that. But I'm mainly a keyboard and mouse guy, and I hooked up my controller. It plays good on controller. There are actually aspects of the game where I felt Diablo 4 felt better on controller than mouse and keyboard, especially with their auto-targeting. Like when my main example is when you got a conduit shrine, when you're doing like a dungeon.
Yeah.
On the controller, it felt 1,000 times better, right? You just, hit your button, right? All your buttons turn into a conduit and you dash. On controller, like auto-targeted. So you just hold down your A button and it'll just ping-pong through the entire dungeon. The mobility was insane on controller. And then some of the UI elements definitely seemed like they're broadened. There's like some lack of display features. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but big for me. They don't have debuff timers, right? So when you get hit by an ailment, some type of CC effect, and you're like, okay, what do I need to do in terms of reactive gameplay? Do I need to hit something that grants me unstoppable, breaks me from the stun? How long did it last for? And you're like, where's this displayed information-wise? And it's just like some mark over your head and doesn't tell how long you're stunned for. And for me, that's a huge problem in an ARPG because, like, how long is that stun affecting you for? What should I do to combat it? Especially if you're playing hardcore.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't have like timers for a lot of debuffs or like buffs that you can see. It seems like there's limited display information. The big blocky elements that people complain about constantly about the UI UX stuff.
Yeah, I saw that in my chat a lot as well. So you're not alone with that. Zeke, what were you gonna say?
Someone from my chat it brought up something that I'm probably going to do. Proxy Cloud said you can switch between controller and mouse keyboard on the fly. Do controller for action and mouse keyboard for inventory, which is probably how I'll do it. Yeah.
Well, and the other crazy component to this, maybe not so much in 2023, but is someone that's been playing Diablo since Diablo 1, it's crossplay. So if you play on your PC and you're like, I want to go play in the living room, you can just boot up your PS5 and your characters are right there and it's the same, you just play, right? Like it's all the same account. And you can play with people across different platforms. It's wild that that's a thing. And so it's also couch co-opable. So you can sit down and play multiple people on the couch in a Diablo game, which is wild.
My brain heard crossplay, and I heard cross-platform. Like my brain, I was like, oh, cross-platform, sure. But cross-play meaning you can go from your PC to your fucking Steam, or to your PS5 or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's wild.
You can't do co-op on your PC though, so you can't hook up like multiple people to your PC, only on console, they said.
Oh, so if you have like a PC in your living room or whatever, you can't. Okay.
No,
That's
you
kind of
can't.
weird.
The co-op is only for console, and I guess they said it was due to limitations with your BattleNet on your computer, having multiple people opt in. But yeah, you can't do co-op gameplay on your PC. It's only for consoles.
And
something really important that people are pointing out that I was also ignorant to.
Yeah,
you have to buy 2 copies of the game
on PC.
Yeah, no split screen. Yeah, Zeke, that's what my chat's pointing out. You have to buy 2 copies of the game on console if you want to play.
Yeah,
couch
PC
co-op.
and console. Yeah.
It's okay. Cohen, any thoughts or anything you want to add to the conversation on like the console-ification of the game, as it were?
I mean, I put it in the same boat as like, simplification in Bethesda titles and stuff like that. It's just mass appeal stuff. It's companies that want to open their doors to try to make more money on a product. And, it kind of sucks because a lot of times it goes not in the interest of the gamer. This is one of the times when I think a lot of console people may appreciate some of the changes. So it's a little different in that regard. There may be some people that like it.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see a lot of this stuff be options instead of decisions. To where, we could have adjusted a little bit to be a little bit more at home for people that have been playing this franchise on PCs for literal decades at this point. But I mean, it's just, companies finding ways into new markets and how that affects the people that they're kind of in some ways leaving behind when they do that.
Yeah. The next thing I have a question about for you guys is, I had a realization yesterday, which I don't know why I thought otherwise, but when you press S in the game, it shows you all your skills for your class.
Yeah.
And I realized that those are all the skills in the game for your class. Like there's no other skills apart from what you're seeing there. And that kind of bummed me out because it didn't seem like there are that many, specifically on Necro. I think, certain classes have more abilities, blah, blah, blah. But like, is the game, I guess what I'm getting at is like, for me, that just was a big opening point of like, maybe this game is too simple, right? Like
you only get to use 6 of those skills.
Right. And then you have, that's exactly right. You have to choose from those, I don't know how many off the top of my head, 15, 20 skills. You can only use 6 of them. Is that too simple or is that fine? I mean, I guess like D2, you were maybe even more limited. You had hotkeys and whatnot, but.
Yeah, I'd say D2 was even simpler, right? Because D2, you just picked usually one primary skill depending on your character, and then you just had 4 synergies for that skill to boost the main damage of it. And even Diablo 3 was simplistic, right? You didn't really have many options there also. So I think they're just following the normal Diablo theme of not making too many decisions for you.
Is it like the PoE part of my brain that's just like fighting that of like, God, this is too simple. I need to be confused. I need a massive skill tree to like it. No, this is just how Diablo always has been. Like, and that's fine. That's
also gives them a lot of room to charge you for more skills later.
Yeah.
Not wrong. Mods, has any of the Paragon stuff been like data mined? Do people know what those trees look like?
Yeah, they have data mined it. We don't know if it's placeholder or if they made adjustments to it. They even did like a blog post on it. But basically the Paragon board, from what we know, there's basically just a board that has like common, uncommon, rare, and like legendary nodes. I guess the more uncommon and common ones, they just give you like resist or some main attributes. And then you kind of have like threshold jewel sockets, like kind of like Path of Exile, where you have like a place on the board where you insert something and does like some radial stuff. Then they got legendary stuff, which is more build defining. And then you could attach like another board and flip it and conjoin them. So a lot of people are hoping the complexity with your build is going to come from that Paragon board, but we don't really know the final iteration of it.
Yeah.
And we just don't know.
Right.
It's kind of like the what it reminds me of. It's almost like a little bit of the Path of Exile tree with threshold jewels and clustered gems.
I saw that
I don't know if you ever use clusters. Yeah. That's kind of like the best way to describe it. That might be familiar to other people from other games. But it does look like there is build defining stuff on that Paragon board. We just don't know how build defining.
Mods, numbers wise, it's 1 to 50 is skill points. 5100 is 4 Paragon points per level for a total of 240. Is that the correct numbers? So then
that seems about right.
There's like a cap on character progression, unlike Diablo 4 or Diablo 3, right? Like that's one of the changes.
Yeah, there's no infinite main stat like Diablo 3. Diablo 3, right? You got your Paragon levels. It was at first it was Paragon level 100, then 800 and max all your stuff, and then after 800 was just infinite main stat. Not basically what you grinded for in Diablo 3. If you wanted to get a better clear time, a better rank, you just mindlessly grinded greater rifts to get +5 main stat because you had a limited amount of upgrades that you can make, right? Your gear got to a certain point where it was so good and you had your augments done and it couldn't really progress to any better. And then they had Primal Ancients that came out, which were perfect gear. But I think pretty much everyone's happy that there's no infinite main stat.
But in essence, though, like a character can be finished in this game, right? Like that's what that ultimately means is once you hit 100, you get the uniques that you want, you get the legendaries that you want. The character's like done at that point?
Well, ARPG players have a unique definition of finish. You're always searching for that extra attribute. There's always that 0.5 crit chance
I guess you could
get,
farm rares,
right? There's that 2% additional elemental damage you could get. So will an ARPG every ARPG player ever make a perfect build during like a season? Probably not, but you could get your gear very, very optimal probably in Diablo 4 at some point and have limited upgrades.
Yeah. And dumb question. The stuff in Diablo, because I actually never really did the system at all in Diablo 3, but seasons reset your characters and everything?
Yeah, so just like PoE, reset your character, you start fresh. Yeah. And then in Diablo 3, you have the season journey. So if you notice, like in Diablo 4, you have like the renown board. You kind of had a system like that in Diablo 3, where they basically had objectives in game that you would complete, and then it would give you like a free set later on. They didn't have the season journey early on though, but they implemented later on. So that was where you get your original power from to get your build going. Because people complain sometimes they just had really, really bad RNG and it would take them too long to get their sets to enable their characters. So they put in like a seasonal journey / renown system in Diablo 3 back in the day. So you just do some objectives and it gives you like a 6-set bonus and it rotates per season. Every class has multiple sets. And that kind of like starts out your build. It allows you to farm, and then you go and do rifts or bounties, and you get the rest of your upgrades, and then go with your final build.
Got it.
Or do you make like a speed build, right? Because Diablo 3 doesn't really have that many activities. You have bounties, you have normal rifts, you have greater rifts, and then you have uber bosses. And that's pretty much it. And that's your flow. You basically rotate through those 4 things, and you don't really do uber bosses too much nowadays. I guess you could argue those set dungeons too, which are like achievement-based dungeons. They have objectives for each set. You have to do a certain objective.
They had a lot then. I guess over time. Seems like they did.
But there's not much in like your Diablo 3 game loop. It's very, very simple. You just rotate between like 3 different areas and that's it.
Okay. Got it. I wanted confirmation. Chat was saying yesterday that they have they being the developers for Diablo 4 have come out and said that once you finish the campaign, you can skip the campaign on alts. Have you seen that at all, Mods?
Oh no, I didn't see that. No.
Okay. I don't know if that was in an interview or where chat was
if we could get a link to wherever that was said.
Yeah.
They're not, you just skip the campaign.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was an interview on Max Roll. Let me see if I can find that. Diablo 4.
I like that that's the first for money. Like how much do we have to pay them? Like what's going on here? This isn't right.
I don't know.
Here you go, right here. Do you have to play the campaign every season? Joe, who is the game director, I forgot what his title is. Do you know his title, Mods, off the top of your head? I forget.
Yeah, I think it's just game director, game designer, lead game designer.
He says, quote, once you've completed the campaign on an account, you will be able to use the skip campaign checkbox. So that's great. Does that mean you just walk around the open world and do like dungeons, I guess?
Yeah, probably like a adventure mode from Diablo 3.
Yeah.
But do you still do all the side quests and stuff? Does that just take out the main campaign backbone and start your character at a higher level? Like that
They didn't have a follow-up.
There's so many different ways they can do that.
Yeah, there was no follow-up there.
That's interesting.
Huh.
Oh, so chat's saying that's the exact same as D3. You can do that in D3.
Well, D3 had adventure mode, which was like you did like campaign or you did adventure mode, right? You can do that from the start, I think. Do you have to finish the campaign to have adventure mode?
No, you don't have to do the campaign anymore to unlock adventure mode. It's unlocked by default. But back in the day, you had to do campaign once, and then you could just level via adventure mode.
And that didn't have any side quest or anything. It was just like, here's a zone, go kill this boss. You finished it, and you got rewards. Let's move on to another zone, or just repeat this. Most people found whatever the fastest was and just did that, right? For like the best XP per hour or whatever.
Yeah, there's always like your optimal leveling strat for every season to start off with.
That could be cool though. I like the idea that you don't. As someone who's gone through the campaign now on 3 different characters in the beta, it's great that I don't have to do all that stuff all over again on alts in the future. Makes, from Blizzard's point of view, it gets people back in the game and it makes them go on more alts after they finished it. So it seems like the proper thing for them. Just getting people always logged in. So that's cool. We didn't really go ahead, Zeke.
Another ignorant question. When is this full release?
June.
There's a date, I'm sure.
June
6th for everybody. June 2nd for those that want to pay a little bit extra.
Yep.
And it'd be really nice if Bobby Kotick was out by then. Then I could play it guilt free.
Well, there's some news about that which we can jump into, but it looks like the UK is okay now, Zeke, with Activision being purchased by Microsoft. So maybe it'll be up.
No,
I don't know. Might be too soon. I don't know.
The whole starting date for Diablo 4 is kind of weird because it is coming out on 6/6, but that's on a Tuesday. Like, when most games do like pre-purchase stuff, they use the pre-purchase or early access stuff and they put it in the middle of the week, and then it goes full access on the weekend for everybody. Or for Diablo 4, whatever, they're doing it backwards. If you pay the full money for the title, but you don't pay the extra money, you don't get to start until Tuesday. Only the premium pass people get to start on Friday on the weekend. And then
and why do you think that is?
Yeah, so they're just like, man, that free money's rolling in. We got that FOMO.
Yeah. Why do
interesting?
You think that is? It's interesting.
Blizzard are not shy about making their money. That's for sure with Diablo 4.
No.
Oh yeah.
No, they're not shy
I
at all.
I got asked during the stream, like, how's this game going to make its money? I was like, well, you're going to buy the $70 game. There's an in-game cash shop. There's a paid battle pass and full price expansions.
Yeah.
How do you think they're going to make their money?
Yeah.
Like,
woo.
They did confirm no loot boxes though, so that's a good thing, I guess.
Well, yes.
So far.
They did confirm
Thank you.
So far is definitely the thing there, right? Like, it's Activision Blizzard. The other thing that's really interesting to me is, and Mods, you might have to clarify this because I'm a little hazy on the details. They are doing what they do with Call of Duty, where the season pass is not hitting until like a couple weeks after launch. So they're not going to be able to have the monetization in the review process for the game. That's where a lot of people are worried, right?
Yeah, a lot of people are definitely skeptical with Diablo 4's monetization, especially with Diablo Immortal looming over their head. And
absolutely, yeah.
A lot of big, longtime Diablo fans felt like it did it did them dirty, right? Their expectation, their monetization, over monetization of the game. But we don't really know what's going to be in the first season pass. They did say it's only going to be cosmetic. There is going to be an XP boost in the season pass, but they assured us the XP boost will be for the free tier. You're not going to have to pay for it. But everyone's going to get the XP leveling boost.
If everyone's going to get it, is it really a boost?
Is that because it's a wipe and so you have to start new characters? So they want to speed it up?
I think it's just, I don't know when it activates. I don't know if the XP boost activates like through your first playthrough. So it makes it easier to level up alternate characters. Okay. But they did say there was going to be a free experience boost activated for people at some point in time.
I wonder if that's like the situation though, where it's like, the free people can get it, but at level 20.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you want to pay right
think
now,
just
you
to-
can get it immediately. Otherwise, you got to level that season pass to level 20 or whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder if
I think
that's how
just to
they'll do it.
accelerate. Yeah, I think it's just to accelerate alts because most people just don't like doing the campaign or leveling process multiple times to just like get into the end game.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. The internet will keep them, keep them honest on all that stuff. I'm sure it's going to be a big conversation point once all that stuff actually starts to come to light and how they're going to monetize all of it. Kind of winding down discussion on D4. I was a little shocked, especially because I didn't play the first weekend and the fact that this was open. Knock on wood, like it was kind of stable. Like for me, I know there are always the horror issues of people just not able to play for 30 minutes at a time, blah, blah, blah. But like server wise, I didn't have any issues really. I don't know if you guys like server wise, it was stable. The game, sure, you crashed.
Okay. So my entire evening on, what was it? 2 nights ago?
Friday?
Last night? Yeah, basically I would log in and get a queue. It would be anywhere between 20 and 40 minutes. I would wait for that. At the very end of the queue, it would then say logging into Diablo IV. That would time out.
Okay.
And then I'd have to exit the game.
And re-queue?
I did that 3 times in a row.
Wow. That was Friday?
3 times in a row. So I think I was in queue for like an hour and a half.
Okay.
And then finally it just happened to work. And there are people that are reporting that they just get that in a loop. So,
wow.
I mean, they still have some serious problems.
Oh, I just got incredibly lucky then. Cause like once I got logged in on Friday, I was good for like 8 hours.
Also, some people are having great experiences with the game being stable. Others are getting crashes every 15 minutes. And of course,
I knew that was
during
a thing.
prime time, that was throwing them right back into queues. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me. I'm having issues with the game hard crashing my computer. I had to put everything down to low. I have no other issues with any other games. No like thermal issues. Did mem tests. Used my voltmeter on my PSU to make sure it wasn't failing. It was good there. I basically did like a full system check, and I even ran like you could run like a little stress test for your computer that you use for benchmarking.
Yeah.
Didn't fail the stress test at all, and for whatever reason, there's like a memory leak with Diablo IV, and it just hard crashed my computer.
Man, I was perfectly happy in my little bubble, my little echo.
There is a percentage of people that are getting on without issues, and then they just stay on for as long as they want. And they don't crash.
Yeah,
so there are people, and you're awesome. I like when I'm in, it tends to be pretty good. I'm definitely not one of the people crashing and stuff, but getting in has been a bit of an issue.
I mean, once like last night, I finished the stream, and I guess it was off hours on a Saturday night. It was like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, but I just logged in. There wasn't even a queue to play. It just like click play, and I was immediately playing. So I had very little issues with it, but it seems like I'm the minority in that regard. I was like super excited about that maybe we wouldn't have a massive issue at launch, but it seems like that stuff is not fixed at all. So maybe even a little bit more worrisome.
Optimization issues early on during a beta.
Yeah.
So just hopefully they smash it out from all the reports and data they got.
Yeah. Do we have any idea that they said that 1 million people were in the early access paid weekend? Is that right? But we have no idea how many people were playing in the open beta. I didn't see any reports of that. I don't know if you guys did.
No, they didn't give any figures
the
yet.
report I saw of 1 million people got to level 20. I don't know if that makes a difference to you.
Okay. And that was during paid weekend? The first weekend?
Yeah, during the paid weekend, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious like how well it'll sell, like what type of numbers. And they're going to probably be pretty quick to celebrate it once all the issues, I think, happen. Or are figured out, smoothed out, whatever. I
was sitting back like with some major major Schadenfreude, just like, tell me about your issues logging in. Tell me how much you got. Tell me how much you got booted. Oh, that's rich.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that widespread, because even my chat was like not. I didn't see the general amount of like, God, I can't fucking play type shit nonstop yesterday. So
yeah, There's definitely people that I've seen in my chat saying that they're pretty angry about the performance issues, and you don't know if it's hardware, driver issue. I know one guy posted he didn't like update his driver in 6 years in my chat. He's like, my game just keeps crashing. Yeah, and I'm like, I told him, I go, yo, update your graphic driver, right? And he was in queue. He started updating his graphic driver when the game was on, and then it crashed his game, and he's like, yo, mods, you messed me up, dude. I'm in the queue again. I'm like, wait, did you try to update your graphic driver when your game was on? And he's like, yeah, you can't do that. I'm like, no, you can't do that. And he's like, I didn't even know you had to update these things.
Oh man.
Yeah. So the thing is, a lot of performance issues, you don't know if it's user generated stuff or actual game stuff, right?
That's PC gaming, right?
Yeah, if you don't got automatic updates on, you don't know what people are doing.
Yeah. What about like none of us played the console version. If anyone in chat, like, did you guys have a pretty okay experience on the console? Were there issues on consoles? I didn't see any of that conversation at all, as most people on Twitch are going to be on a PC or something like that. Ran great on Series X. PS5 was smooth. Xbox version nice so far. So okay. Seems like it was fine there.
Because that's probably where I'll play it. I'll probably play it on my PS5 in my bedroom.
Yeah.
It'll be my chill out and grind, turn off my brain game.
Yeah. I see mostly positive stuff. Couple rubber banding comments.
Oh, everyone's getting that.
Yeah.
Nice thing on console, everyone has the same hardware, so it's really easy to optimize games for it.
Yeah.
Devs always say that they love console. They know what settings you're going to have, and let's optimize it good.
Yeah. Well, cool. That the beta's still open till it closes. What, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, I think.
Noon Pacific, I believe.
Is it noon Pacific?
EST.
Okay, all right. I got the times mixed up. So if you want to, it's open. I think you just have to have a BattleNet account. You can just log in and play if you're at all curious on any of this. It's a pretty good time, and it seems like the server issues are fine right now. Is that people are able to log in? There's no queue.
Yeah,
okay.
No queue right now. As long as there's no queue, then yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Great.
It is an 85 gig download.
Seems like most people got their wolf and they're good. So everyone who's playing now is kind of just getting the tail end. And I think what the last world boss was yesterday, or is that today? I think it was yesterday. So
this morning, last one spawned, so you can't do that anymore.
Oh, that was yesterday at 1, and then they did it 12 hours later, right?
Yeah, they had really weird time. They didn't have like an evening world boss spawn. It was like 1 a.m. in the morning, or noontime.
We didn't talk about world boss. You guys fan? I did it yesterday, and it was.
I think they'll be cool.
It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's a public event like Warhammer Online did, and
yeah,
I
thought it was fine.
They don't seem to be reinventing the wheel with it or anything.
Definitely, like difficulty wise, nowhere near anything that Lost Ark puts out. It's just kind of once you figure out to stay on the mob's ass, you kind of can live through it without dying. For the most part.
Apparently, stack poison resist.
Yeah, it does poison. Yeah. But did they say how many there's going to be for that? Is there 4 world bosses that can spawn?
I think 3 at the start.
3 at the start.
But I think the world boss that we were doing is technically a level 45 one. It's not a 25 one. They scaled it down.
Oh, okay.
Scaled it down. Said the people that were getting one shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot of discussion about world boss, because world bosses in the beta, there wasn't any limitations to it, right? And you have the server limits. So what are the 8 to 12 people in each zone? A lot of people were upset about world bosses because you're going there to experience this cool event. And it was a cool event. It's not like overly hard or complex. There is like some basic mechanics that you have to avoid. And then you get your little loot pinata, and like you get your one-time extra clear bonus. But what you had was a lot of really, really under-geared characters going there, or very, very low-level characters. And there was only 1 or 2 high-level characters, and people were unable to kill the boss because their cooperative teammates weren't able to do enough in order to kill it. And there's no way to like set up groups for it. So you can't set up an 8-player preset or 12-player preset. You're randomly just with 8 other people, right? Because you can make 4-player groups. You can't really get all your buddies in there. And if we try to like circumvent the system by inviting people and then kicking some people out and inviting some more people, and they made their own group. But then once you invited too many people, it would actually transfer you off of that server to a different server. And it can actually happen during the boss. So we're there fighting the boss, and we're like, okay, let's get our other buddies in, right? And we invited someone, and then we're like, wait, the game's lagging. And it put us to another instance where there was no boss. We're like, wait, where'd our boss go? Where'd this guy at? And yeah, so there's definitely some technical things that they have to resolve there.
Yeah.
And with like being able to do it cooperatively with your friends. Right. There's no system. You don't have the guild, these social systems that have more depth than a lot of ARPGs, but then you can't group with your buddies. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. I did the first one. I lucked out, I guess, and had a couple 25s in there. And so we were able to do it in the 15-minute time frame very easily. And the second one, I actually did have a hard crash to desktop. I think that was the only time I ever crashed playing D4 in the weekend. And so we started the world boss encounter. It was at like, I don't know, 80%. I DC'd. I went through a 5-person or like a 5-minute queue, got back in, joined a new server, and the boss was at 10%. And I got the kill and all the loot and all that stuff. So that's stupid lucky in that regard to rejoin a server that was, that low HP and was successful. But
how many people are on those?
I think it's 12 max. Is that right? Odds? Yeah. 12
they said
people.
8 to 12. I guess it varies. I don't know what determines it though.
Yeah. There should be.
Is that the only like
limit?
Is that the only like group stuff that's like anything close to a raid? Like that's the closest thing, or is there more of that shit?
We don't know if there's going to be more of an end game, but yeah, early on there's just the basic cooperative raid stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like world bosses. Yeah. I don't know if you ever played EQ or like WoW. Same thing. You just walk up to it. It's like cool looking guy, big, massive, and then you just get loot.
Yeah. Camera zooms out. You have some things you got to dodge, and you get a bunch of loot afterwards. Loot pinata. It's fun.
The thing is, though, also they don't have a repair guy there, so some people are dying a bunch. So they would teleport back to town to repair, and when they would teleport back, since they transferred servers, when they went back to the boss that they thought they're going to re-enter at, it was gone because the server sharding too, or the server layers.
That's kind of crap.
Maybe they need to do something about that. Either put a repair guy there. No, maybe tell people don't die as much, but. Yeah, you couldn't pretty much go back to town when you're doing the boss encounter for any reason.
Right. You'll just
now. Is it something you have to coordinate, like a raid boss or something? Like you have to like get like someone calling the raid and telling you what to do, or like anything like that?
It's pretty simple. The boss had 3 abilities, I think. Very simple stuff, just like essentially Zeke. Once you learn to just stick on the mob's ass. And always be behind him and kind of center yourself behind him because he does have a back attack, you're fine. You'll never get hit. And kind of always live through it. It's nothing like World of Warcraft or like a Lost Ark, for example, where that's absurd difficult boss.
Right. And I'm guessing there's no roles, like no tank, off tank, healer. Like
not really. There are ways to taunt. Does taunt work on a world boss? Is that because like the necromancer golem can taunt, but I don't know if that actually makes the world boss turn and attack it. I don't know how that works.
I never noticed it working. I know a lot of like big mobs are unstoppable, so they're not affected by like CC and stuff. I didn't notice it on any of my characters.
They might just be like perma unstoppable or something. So
is that a new addition to this one, or was that in D2, D3 and stuff?
The world bosses?
World boss. Yeah.
It's new. This style of world boss is definitely new. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's
kind of like the MMO flair they're throwing on it with the overworld stuff.
Yeah, because it is an open world, Zeke. It's not like other Diablos where you teleport to I guess it is kind of similar. You teleport to a zone, but it's one giant map that you can walk from like one corner to the other of in this. Whereas in the other games, it was more like sectioned off where you would have waypoints all the way through the axe. I guess they are similar now, kind of saying that out loud, but similar. It's same, but different. Let's go with that. And how they're handling
is it like you could walk, but if you walk too far, you find yourself in a place you're way under leveled for? Is that the kind of thing? Or okay.
Yeah, I think so. There's mounts as well. We don't have access. We didn't have access to them in the beta. I had people in my chat. Did you guys get a mount armored to drop? Or
you could actually get mounts and armor for your mounts.
Yeah.
Because your mounts, like late game, they'll have like cosmetic changes, and you'll have like trophies from like doing certain things that you can display visually on your mount when you're galloping around. So people like they see you gallop around the open world, like, oh, that guy killed that thing. Wow.
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
The core dragon dropped mounts. Oh, I never saw that. Is the core dragon mods the special event that spawns in the north at the stronghold up there? Is that where that is?
Yeah, the level 30 event. Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw that.
The north stronghold.
Yeah. There's a dragon there? Is that what? I guess maybe I need to go see that.
No, it's not no, it's a core dragon or whatever. It's like the level 30.
Oh, that's
like where
the name of the area.
Best gear.
Okay.
Yeah, core dragon. Yeah.
I thought
there's like if you open your map, your overworld map, and you hover over it after you complete that stronghold, periodically, like every 10 minutes to like every hour, just random to spawn.
Yeah.
It'll just little timer spawns up with like 5-minute notice. You go there, you do the objectives, and you get really good loot. And then you can also get some mount related stuff, but you can't use any of it.
Yeah, it's all just sits in your inventory. You can also get like level 35 items to drop and change if you use a legendary imprint on that, it'll bring it down to level 25 and kind of make the character just
a little
absurd.
Clever use of game mechanics.
Yeah. Yeah, that type of stuff. So cool. That's Diablo 4. Oh my God, we only got 50 minutes left. Well, I want to talk about this Twitch stuff. Because there's a lot of Twitch stuff. Zeke, what were you gonna say?
I was just saying, I wanted one of those other times I wanted to really pipe in.
Yeah.
But you were talking about like the difference between optimizing for console and optimizing for PC and stuff. And the funny thing is, after like doing CD-ROMathon for the last 5 years, like I just realized like that has completely shifted, because back in the day we would have to like alter our shit for the game.
Yeah.
And now the onus is on the games, and I'm like, I like that. Being a gamer, I like that they have to fucking cater to my ass rather than having to have the correct sound blaster, the correct fucking, all that shit, like the correct plugins and stuff.
I think it actually was Blizzard. I'm trying to remember exactly. It might have been that one time that we were at the H1Z1 offices, like the first time I think I met you, or it might have been Blizzard. But we went into like a QA room, and the QA room was just pretty much at the time, every single piece of hardware that you could have for a PC that was generally used. And it was like, yeah, this is our job. We take every single component here and mix and match just to make sure that it works to the best of our ability, because we know that they use this amount of, this GPU is the X most used GPU. So we got to make sure it works and there's no issues. And that's like a full-time job. And there's multiple people. There are tons of people at companies that are doing that. And it's a massive storeroom of just countless amounts of PC hardware. And I would assume that's even worse now.
After Twitch blows up, like I'm going to go do that.
You're just going to go do that, Chubb? Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Can it run on Windows 98? Yeah, let me find out.
Yeah.
Get it going. Let's fire it up.
Fire it up. There you go. Speaking of Twitch, going to shit. Where did we start? I guess we could start with, we didn't do a show. The last show was with Skillup, and that was on the 12th. So on March 16th, which was not this last Thursday, but the Thursday before that, that was when Emmett Shear announced that he was stepping down from the CEO position. And that Dan Clancy, the former president of Twitch, the person who most notably, I think, is well known within the streaming world as the 50/50 guy, who came out and said that we're going to be, moving all partners 50/50, blah, blah, blah. He is now CEO. And like that, I think that happened, and people were like, okay, sure, right? Like Emmett's, they either celebrated it, they didn't celebrate it. It was a thing.
Emmett did a whole lot for Twitch, and he was one of like the last OGs, but he's also kind of like been very quiet and non-communicative. And there's been a lot of both justified and not justified criticism of Emmett
Sure.
at his position. So when he left, I feel like it was kind of like a collective kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Like not, there was no real, like there was no one saying, oh man, that sucks. But there weren't people that were like, oh good, he's gone. Like it was, everyone was just kind of like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
see ya.
Someone said it more succinctly than I did on Twitter, and I don't remember who it was. I would love to credit them, but it might have been our boy Bussy. But but someone said like, "Hey, Emmett, you got to fire 400 people." Amazon.
Oh
said so.
yeah,
and he's like,
yeah,
he's like, no, go ahead. I'm out, Dan. People don't like you already, so you go right in. All yours, bud. Hey,
I think it's very funny to like.
That was in response to my tweet.
Yeah.
Response to him.
Yeah.
There it
so
is.
Yeah, because I was basically like, yeah, welcome to CEO Dan. Now go fire those 400 people.
Yeah, I think it's like
that's
it's
but
easy
I think
to like.
he was right. I think Bussy was right.
It's easy to meme on that, but this type when you're at a C-level position like this, they knew he was out 6 months ago, 9 months, like almost a year ago, because they start to like. You don't just move into a CEO position. You have to be like almost coached, groomed into that spot. And so like the idea that he was just like getting out so he didn't have to fire 400 people, it's not a week thing. It's not a month-long thing. Like,
do you think it was still scheduled that way though? Like the thing that's weird is, did they know about these layoffs for that long? And if so, like, when they found out about it, was he like, yeah, I want to be out before this happens? Like, there's a whole lot of unknowns behind this scene here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I very much think Emmett, I mean, as somebody said in chat, and I kind of agree with this, like in a lot of ways, Emmett checked out years ago in terms of like a lot of that stuff. So it very well could have been a final nail in the coffin. They're like, okay, we have, 2 months ago when the C-level guys get the memo, yeah, we're going to be releasing 400, almost a third of your company. Like, I can absolutely see Emmett being like, dude, no, like absolutely, like I'm getting out before that. Like if they're already planning on that, I do not want to be the person overseeing that. Like that, what a horrible way to leave. If he was thinking of leaving to fire 400 people and then like soon after announce they're leaving too. Like,
yeah, potentially.
I don't know, man.
I mean, the other side of that coin is
they did.
Go ahead, Mike.
They did they did I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was like in 2019 they laid off like 30 employees, and that was received badly. Deal. So
yeah,
I could definitely see them be like 400 people. Yeah, I got that kid. It's time to take a little break and work on another startup afterwards. He honestly didn't really seem like he wasn't your standard CEO. He was like
not at all.
He was your tech guy that
he was an engineer.
He was passionate. He got lucky. He wasn't really like your corporate leader role, right? Like he wasn't your normal suit. He was just someone that was passionate about something, and that idea was good, and it blew up. So yeah, he wasn't really a vocal person or spokesperson. He wasn't really good at doing forward pointing stuff. He was kind of just day-to-day operation stuff.
Yep.
But somehow he got put in the top position to be that exact person that required all of that stuff that he probably did not sign up for when he came to Twitch in the first case. And I think that's that dichotomy is one of the reasons why he was just kind of checked out in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like one of the biggest things that people were getting on him for is that he was the head of the company and he barely communicated with the community. And it's kind of like, but he may have not. That may have never been his intention. Just like you're saying, Mods. He just got, powered up through the ranks and then was there and was kind of like, oh well, this is not what I wanted to do here.
Yeah,
it's really good money. So.
I don't think he was. I agree wholeheartedly, like with my whole chest, that he was not good when it came to speaking to the community. 100% agree with that. I do not believe he was quote unquote checked out internally. I think he was. In a lot of ways, like on the side that you would want him to be internally in a lot of those conversations. Like he was the last refuge.
These were never, and we can speak about this because it's not really NDA. I don't know, like I don't know if I'd call him last refuge because I had a very serious discussion with him years ago about embedding on Twitch and the companies that are just basically cheating their success and how it's, goes against everything this platform stands about and all this stuff. And I mean, he basically told me directly, like, it's okay. It's in our toss. Like, this is fine. And it's kind of like, but do you realize what this is, like what this is doing to the spirit of this platform? It's just kind of like, yeah, but it's fine. So there you go.
Yeah.
And I remember at that time just being like, this is clearly not what it used to be. This is a completely different direction from what would have this would have been a different conversation 3 years prior. And it's kind of like that. So it's kind of hard for me to believe that he would. I think that he was probably on the side of Twitch doing well. And it is.
Sure,
You know, he was here through the Amazon purchase, and obviously he signed up and all that and everything. So, but I don't know, man. Like, again, I think this all comes back to the collective okay when he left.
I mean, that's also, I will say that's also one issue in a sea of a billion issues. So
true. I was about to say, like, I'm sure there was a lot of stuff in the back end we didn't know about. And again, this comes back to the communication. It would have been nice for him to be more vocal about the stuff he was helping with and stuff to get us more. So
yeah.
So it's yeah. Anyway, it seems kind of weird because it was like a collective. It wasn't even a splash. It was just kind of like, it's the fact that we're talking about it now. I hadn't even thought about it for the last like week.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other issues that are a lot more prominent.
Sure.
I had the opportunity to do interview him once. It was pretty scripted. The talking points were pretty much like given to us, but the questions he chose to answer were like, I was really impressed at the questions he chose to answer during that time. But like my impression of the guy was he is one of those weirdly intimidating, hyper intelligent people. Like he is super duper smart. He's one of those cats that you try to have a talk with, and it seems like they're speaking a different language because like if you follow his Twitter and stuff too, like you see some of his tweets talking about these high-minded ideas and these philosophical questions and all this kind of shit, and he has this out of touchness, like with the how to speak to regular people,
Sure, yeah. Look, I have to echo that as well, yeah.
But the thing is, like, he also talked to me about like going to Burning Man, and he was like, man, we should have these Twitch cons more often, man. This is fucking great. Like this camaraderie and this feeling, and like I got that was the one time where I was like, I'm getting some warmth from you, which is very weird.
Yeah.
But he was like into that, like the community stuff. He's like, man, this TwitchCon shit is so great.
I wish we got to know more of that guy, man.
I know, but that's the thing.
That sounds awesome.
It's a rare occasion when that happens, because once we were done, like, just chit chatting, once we got into the interview, it was very like,
these media training.
I don't want to say robotic, but I definitely want to say systematic. It was like, okay, we're going to ask this question, and then this question, and then we're going to say this, and then this, and then this.
Yeah.
But like that 5 minutes I had with him just talking dude to dude, I got a sense like there's definitely some more to him, but like he's definitely very out of touch. And I think him and Wheat work together. DJ Wheat worked together so well, because DJ Wheat could communicate with him and then spit it out like, yo, TwitchCon, like
that's still to this day one of the biggest losses of the platform. Like Wheat was.
Yeah.
Wheat
is paramount.
Yeah, and
I remember before he even started working on Twitch when he was just streaming back in the day. That was
live on 3 all that time. Yeah.
I had different experience with that. I never talked to him a single time my entire time on the platform.
With Emmett?
Being on Justin TV. Yeah, I'd never had a one-on-one experience with them ever. Even when there was only a couple of people on the website. I spoke to a lot of like the account managers and like other management, but I've never spoke to Emmett a single time in, what was it, 12 years or 13 years?
Yeah. I through my wife working at Twitch and being as high up as she was, I ran into him a couple times at like 2 holiday parties. He's just a nerd. Like at his core, Emmett's just a nerd. Like he was an engineer, he was a nerd. I think he was always I don't want to say reluctant to be in like the CEO spot, but he was an engineer first and foremost, and he was definitely there because he was one of the founders, and that's just the position that he found himself in. And I think the past couple of years, like he had to, because he was so bad and Twitch was so bad at communication, they opted for him to be the CEO and become, a source of communication. but it didn't really work out at all. I mean, I think, Zeke, you mentioned your interview with him. That interview, for a lot of reasons, like shaped the meme of Emmett, right? Of like context matters. And that carried with him until today, even, right? Like that's his most famous thing he's ever said is context matters. And then it's just like context matters. And then here's a tweet of, or not
anything
a tweet,
bad that goes wrong.
Yeah.
That's what, that's the thing they did.
And so that was unfortunate. But it is what it is, right? Like he did his best with the media training that they gave him. And I think it's also like, even on Drop Frames, back when we were doing TwitchCons, there was a reason that we stopped getting people like Kevin Lynn to interview. And there was a reason that we stopped getting people like Jason Maestes to interview. And it's because they said shit they weren't supposed to. they were getting PR in trouble because they would come out and say things about products or, whatever, an opinion that they weren't supposed to have. And so that's why they kind of like took that away ultimately, which is also a change, a shift in Twitch from like what we grew up as on the platform with Justin TV in like the early days where they were so community focused, and it became much more of like suits and PR and media training and what we find ourselves in today. So yeah. Anyways, he left. He's gone. Dan Clancy took over. We don't really have too much to say on Dan, at least I don't, right? Like most famous for a 50-50 split, posted a blog.
Now, the 50-50 split thing was interesting because there was a lot of this weird stuff that went on in the back end about like him just pushing that message out like on a Friday or something, and like he just wanted to have it be done with, and a lot of people did not get a chance to review it. So that was very interesting already because he was like making power plays before he was even in the top position, which goes back to that whole thing you said about maybe knowing more about, maybe having that path paved already a little bit.
Right.
But on top of that, something did happen that kind of surprised me. So when Dan got promoted and Emmett left, I think I was expecting a lot of people to be like exactly what you said. Oh, it's a 50-50 guy. Oh man, whatever. But a whole lot of people started talking about how Dan apparently has been way more communicative. How he's like had meetings with a lot of people. He met with like the OTK guys. He met with, I think, was it Busey or a few other people. Like he was at some events.
He was at a dinner in Austin. There were multiple dinners in Austin.
He was when he's at events, he like has meetings with Twitch people, which is kind of cool. So I don't know what that means. I can tell he definitely seems more suited for that position as kind of the face, where I think Emmett was more kind of wanting to be in the background and seems to be a little bit more wanting to be in the foreground. Now it also seems like he is much more Amazon business style than anyone we've ever had in this position before. So I think for the average streamer, that's not going to be a great thing as the platform is moving more towards platform technology and infrastructure than individual creator. But I mean, it seems like it's going to be a bit of a black and white situation. It's not going to be he's all good or all bad or anything like that. Like there's going to be good parts and maybe not so great parts.
Yeah.
It is good that he's getting feedback from people, but is it reactive? Does it actually make a difference, right? It doesn't matter. You could take meetings to get feedback from the community and lead community people, but if you don't actually make changes that better suit and represent the platform and make a better viewing experience, it doesn't even matter. A lot of things that other people don't talk about, right? They did reduce the sub split. They decided not to give creators a better split, but they also increased ad revenue, right? So they're like, okay, if you want to make, we're not giving you more money through subs, but you could get more ad revenue, but that's dependent on playing 3 minutes of ad per hour minimum. And the way the system seems like it's set up, they're always trying to encourage you to play more and more ads, where I'm seeing some people playing 6 or 10 minutes of ad per hour. So if you basically they're trying to focus people to be heavily ad reliant. And a lot of people don't like that. It's not the best viewing experience, where it's like a lot of people came to Twitch to avoid cable. Are you going to watch Twitch when you're getting 10 minutes of ads an hour, or even 8 minutes of ads an hour, 6 minutes of ads an hour? And I don't know where people's threshold is at, but a lot of people just don't like ads. And there's tons of ways to get rid of ads, but yeah. Twitch
believes the threshold is 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like if we want to see what Twitch's threshold that they believe is, it's 3 minutes. That's where the new,
3 minutes. Yeah.
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 It's where the new
And then,
contracts are at.
As someone brought up in chat, and I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but there was with Dan. Unfortunately, there was the famous quote from when he went around and was doing a bunch of meetings with people. I want to say it was at one of the cons in the time back. But there's a very popular IRL streamer, but I think he recently won the top one.
Yeah,
and his quote from their meeting. So he met with this guy, and his quote was, "I don't feel confident as a streamer on the platform with someone who is that out of touch with what the streamers need and want. Very weird. I walked away feeling depressed, seriously, and sad."
Yeah.
And this was before Dan was promoted where he is now.
This is at TwitchCon last year is
yes.
where that happened. Yeah.
So that is as somebody like who can, has been on the platform. Jake's been here for a while. Jake and Bake has been one of the longers on the platform. So that's a pretty jarring thing to say, especially considering you knew that was going to. He felt confident enough in that to where he knew that would make it back to Dan in public, obviously. So that's not the best foot forward.
No. And you talked about how he was meeting with all these streamers. The cynic in me looks at that and thinks, yeah, of course he's doing that. He's got to get his public opinion up, right? Like he's got to go meet with the Asmongold's and the people that control a lot. And this control is a strong word, but a lot of people that shape a narrative around, Twitch and Twitch culture. And for him to come out and say well, we were out having drinks and he was at dinner with us and it's
funny you say that
because it happened. He changed the narrative a little bit.
He went out to lunch exactly with Asmongold and Asmongold on his stream in front of tens of thousands of people. We're talking about how nice it was to have lunch with him and do all this stuff and boosting up his. So, you're not wrong. This could just be CEO 101. The first thing you do when you want to get advancement in a company is you try to make your, blow up your image as much as you can. So, yeah.
Touch base.
Sit down and
now
write.
I have a.
What?
You sit down and you write 2 letters. The first letter says, blame everything on me or on the previous guy. Next letter says, sit down and write 2 letters.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll, here's my question. If I guess we could talk, we could bring in the idea that all this happened. The CEO was out. We got a new CEO. And then 4 days later, Twitch posted an update about our workforce. And they did a company-wide reduction of 400 people.
Just for those wondering, about a third of their workforce.
Was that confirmed?
I saw their what was it? Their LinkedIn profile as of the beginning of this year had 1,150, I want to say. But please, someone in chat, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
this is not necessarily the most public of information.
I only asked that
because
I knew what the employee count was when my wife worked there, but I don't know if that's public information, so I'm not going to say. But it was not. It was higher than that by a considerable margin.
Much higher?
Yeah.
Double? Or?
Well, according to the Washington Post,
let's see. Yeah, I'm
it
curious
says
what other people
400 employees out of a total of around 2,500.
That's the
around 5 said on the Washington Post.
Yeah, that was more in line with the
about
numbers I was
saying. A little under a fifth of their workforce.
Yeah. I saw that 1,200 number floating around as well, and I was like, that's
that's
low.
the number I heard too. But even then, it's still almost a fifth of their workforce.
It's still a fucking ton of people.
You can't. Number. Yeah,
100%.
It's still a massive part of your organization.
Yeah.
And the people that were being let go. Well, go ahead and finish talking.
That's what I was about to introduce. So they announced 400 people were being let go, and this came out on the 20th. And right after that, it was pretty much understood that I think this is a norm within the tech world.
Mm-hmm.
They announced 400 people were being laid off. At that point, no one had been let go. So everyone that was at Twitch was then immediately like, am I going to be let go? And they were supposed to happen in early April. I feel like that got pushed up. We'll never know. But all the layoffs occurred on Friday. And they are done with the layoffs. I know a handful of employees. One is Ron, actually, in my chat right now, was a former employee who no longer works there. I saw a couple other on Twitter. And you can go and scan LinkedIn, but all the layoffs have happened. It's rather unfortunate. A lot of longtime employees. I know I saw Jimmy Wizenhunt was let go. He was 8-year, 9-year.
Yeah, a lot of long-time employees got cut.
Dude.
Yeah.
And one of the most jarring tweets during this whole thing is another long-term employee who actually didn't get cut. His name is Pluto.
Yes.
And he actually tweeted out that basically everyone was just refreshing their inbox. So they were being released by email from 8+ year jobs they had been in. And they were all just refreshing their inbox, waiting to get their mail on if they would be leaving the company or not.
Yeah.
And on top of that, another telling thing is a slew of promotions. Lots of people were promoted and moved around inside of Twitch at the exact time. So what does that show you? It means they were cutting the people that were probably, making the money and raising up the people that were, underlings to then take their position for probably less money.
Yeah.
Which again, this is kind of not an unstandard thing to happen in the corporate world.
No, it's not.
Yeah, we're watching the same thing going on at Twitter right now, for instance. But it's
okay.
it's a thing.
Okay, maybe I'm bringing up a really stupid question. There's an easy answer, and I don't know it. But like, if you need to lay off 400 people at basically the same time, how do you do it? Like besides email, like what would be the?
I mean, back in the day,
really
they used
depends
to
on the company.
back in the day, they used to call people into an office, and it was just one by one. But the issue with that is that in the tech, and this is going to sound real fucking like I'm sucking some corporate cock. Like in the tech world, when you start telling people that they're losing their jobs, people start doing some weird shit in the tech world to like steal some data or plant some things that the second that they lose access to their email, it goes off and maybe some things start disappearing internally and all that type of stuff. There's a lot of like things.
Makes sense why they didn't let them know ahead of time too. Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff happens, unfortunately.
Also, there were 400 people being released in what, a 24-hour time frame? I mean, you can't really, unfortunately, put the personal touch on every one of them. Obviously, there were better ways to do that, but
yeah,
that's and as someone in chat is saying, and I think this is absolutely right. There was this weird dichotomy because there was a lot of people who were like, oh, well, Amazon's just trimming the fat. They overhired during COVID. And now that things are settling down and the economy is stagnating / going down a little bit, they're just trimming the fat from the new hires. And then it's kind of like, well, in that case, wouldn't you, the argument would be, wouldn't you see all these new people they hired be cut off because they're reapplying? And no, actually, it's the opposite. You start seeing old people get fired. Why? Because they're the ones that have the inflated salary that have been there for so long. The whole plan is to like get off the people that are making the most for the positions that can be most easily replaced. And that way you can, promote from within, less money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it sucks for the workers. What it comes down to, it sucks for the workers.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's
removing
just,
all the vested people.
Situation.
The worst is though is when you know you're going to lose your job and they're having you train the person that's going to replace you. I don't know if you guys ever worked a normal job. That doesn't feel too good.
No, it's not a great feeling.
I don't know which way I'd rather take it. Just getting fired by an email or training my replacement that's not as vested as you.
Right.
So.
Right, and I'm sure that happened at Twitch.
It's a double-edged sword. I don't know which one I would prefer, just being fired or training my person that's gonna take my position.
Yeah.
Well, just a funny corporate anecdote. This was a big thing going around, and for the record, I'm pretty sure this isn't what he did, but I'm sure it's happened in the past. But there was a funny thing going around with Elon where he basically asked all the managers, "Who's your best employee?" And then he like fired 80% of them and replaced them with the best employee. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Now, again, I don't know if that actually happened. There's been so much misinformation about that going around anyway. Right. But I'm sure that kind of thing has happened in the past. I mean, that's a big part of these faceless kind of corporations that are just there to make money. They just want to get the cheapest person in the position that can do the job. Not necessarily the most effectively, just do the job.
Right.
So it's kind of like, all sorts of.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember walking into a job once, like, I just want to share this commiseration. Like, I walked in, I worked at a bar as a bar back, which is like the bartender's like helper, basically. You get ice and refill.
You get the shit jobs,
like that. Yeah. Walked in, shit you not, it was fucking the day before Christmas Eve, so it was December 23rd. Walked in for work, and got handed my last paycheck and go, we're closing. And that happened to everybody that worked there. Everybody that worked there walked into work that day and just got a paycheck and said, we're going out of business. Bye. Like no one fucking like it just got fucking canned with no notice at all.
Whew, rough.
That was fucking a gut punch. You're just like, well, but what do I do now? I didn't prepare to lose my job today. Right before Christmas.
Quick. Yeah.
Seeing some stuff in chat. For the record, I'm pretty sure they're in California. Not everyone got axed with like a 1 week notice. I'm pretty sure they're getting compensated for
legally
a couple months at least. Yeah. And all the people leaving, pretty much all that I've seen are talented people. They will hopefully land on their feet. There's lots of other jobs they can get. I've seen so many people on Twitter trying to help them find different jobs. I know Bungie has been active about trying to recruit some of them. Like this is the situation where hopefully they will all find good jobs soon. So, they have a lot of experience at a very successful company. So hopefully they will be picked up very soon.
Absolutely. That being said, can't be a fun time to work in those offices right now. Morale just has to be the fucking in a world where I don't think morale has been pretty high for a long time. It's got to just be grim, like walking into those offices.
Also, talk about a double-edged experience to get a promotion during.
God, 100%, yeah.
It's like seeing your best friends you've had for years leave, and it's like, yeah, and I got promoted. Like that sucks. That absolutely
sucks.
There's
no celebration there at all. Yeah. Just a feel bad experience all around. Did y'all happen to see this Verge article, by the way, that came out right after that?
No, I didn't.
On the 21st, so 20th is when they announced they were letting 400 people go. On March 21st, The Verge, I don't know how this happened, launched an article entitled, "After a string of creator controversies, Twitch is pretty sure it made the right changes. With new tools like guest star and improvements to existing monetization programs, Twitch believes it's the best place for creators right now." They have Tom Verrilli, who is the Chief Product Officer, which I believe is a promotion, by the way, for Tom. They also have Mike Minton, who we had on the show. He is the Chief Financial. No, I don't think he's CFO. He's basically in charge of ads at Twitch. Monetization
officer.
That's right, yeah. Which is kind of a newer thing.
CMO.
Yeah. Some of the quotes in here, like, man, they are not great quotes.
And here's the worst part. They wouldn't have been great quotes
ever
on a good day.
Whoa. What is going on? Everything is just closing on me, chat. I lost him in VMX. Stand by. I don't know what's happening. It's scaring the shit out of me, though. We're just losing everything. I'm alone. Hello. 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 Okay. They'll have to refresh. They'll be joining here soon. I guess Ko said too much there is what happened. Did you see how fast? I almost got whiplash with how fast my my neck popped right there. It's kind of wild. Anyways, they'll be joining up here in just a sec. Right now, actually.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, man. Now the complete opposite PC. No. It killed everything. The complete opposite PC closed. I don't have any explanations, man. Yeah, there was no stream drop. Modz
really? You got to tell Modz, because Modz isn't in our group. Oh no.
Yeah.
I thought anyway.
That was wild. The Amazon sniped Co there.
Oh my lord. So yeah, but it was incredible. Like we were kind of like playfully ribbing at Emmett not communicating very well, and it's just kind of like to see some of these quotes is just kind of like just completely out of touch with the general feeling of the community in a lot of ways. It's really wild. It's really wild.
Yeah, Tom says, "I don't think there's ever been a better time to start streaming on Twitch." From the Chief Product Officer, Tom Verrilli.
And the thing is like I feel like his quote is something that you would need a lot of context to it that is not there. Like, I'm sure he's a product officer, so he's talking about in terms of development and technology. And because, there are a lot of more tools these days. There's a lot of other stuff, but like the general quote it's not a headline quote for an article kind of thing. Like, then there's a lot of nuance to what he's saying, I feel like. Yeah, that was not really conveyed.
Yeah, this one right here. The ad incentive program is one of the products of the investment that far. Quote, the acceptance and engagement of the ad incentive program far exceeded our expectations, Minton said. So streamers are clearly seeing the value in running ads now.
Because they have to. Again, they're not happy about it. So it's kind of like, that's totally not, it's not, again, there's more to that quote. There's definitely some more information that's needed there that's not really there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
There's just a lot of quotes in here.
I feel like that's like sending the prisoner down to the mines. And he's like, look, he loves it down here. Look at him mine that rock. Yeah. Look, the guard's not even hitting him. And he's loving it. Yeah. That's great.
It's sorry about that, Mods. That was on me, not you. But welcome back.
Yeah, I noticed it dropped, and then I thought it was going to reconnect by itself. And I'm like, I drank too much coffee. I have to use the restroom real quick.
Okay, gotcha.
No,
perfect.
I was waiting for it to reconnect automatically, and as soon as I sat back down, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to reconnect. Here we go.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. It just looked like I was frozen for a little while.
Yeah, we probably got some fun clips.
We're good. We actually got some drop frames.
Yeah, like Co's face, he was like leaning back laughing a little bit. Where it froze originally.
Yeah. It's the perfect face.
Oh, man.
And then maybe the weirdest part of this whole article is when they start bringing up guest star. Quote, we think the next evolution of chat is with guest star. And it's just like, it's that fetch meme is really all that is, right? Like, it's the Mean Girls fetch meme. Stop trying to make guest star happen. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah. I remember when the feature came out, I was getting emails about having meetings with it and utilizing it. I'm like, what would I even use this for? I'm like, I like this traditional podcast setup.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what they're trying to
I will say this.
Into the system. Have you guys actually used Guest Star yet?
Not, I know I'm very familiar with what it is, but I've not actively used it. No. It's just like a Discord call where you can bring in members of chat and other streamers, right? Like,
yeah.
I remember when I first saw Guest Star, the very first thing I asked is, why would I ever use this over something I'm more comfortable with and that is existing?
100%.
And the reasons not a single reason I was given was compelling for me not stop using what exists and is already here. Like, there is some cool stuff about it, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like there's also a lot of unknowns and a lot of stuff you have to set up and a lot of things you have to do. And it's like everyone's already doing this. It just seems like with all the other things that streamers have been asking for over the years, this is such a strange use of time, resources, and most importantly, money. Like, it's just it's a very, very strange thing.
I just want to know, why the fuck are they putting so much time and effort into this? Like, how is this? Because it's got to be money. How is this going to make them money?
And at the same time, they're not doing things like, putting custom emotes and hype trains so that everyone actually uses them and promotes them. They're not like making the ad system better so we can actually integrate them into our channel more appropriately. They're not, like, there's all these things that they could be spending money on that would benefit the viewer and us and Twitch. And it's like, why are you spending it on this stuff? Like, it's wild. It's wild.
I'm okay saying this because the person no longer works at the platform, and it's not my wife. For those that are going to try to figure this out, I think they're pushing guest star because Dan wants it pushed, and that's why it's directive from Dan. And I don't know why. I think he's just championing the product and thinks that it's going to be the next bee's knees. But I was told by a former employee that if I want anything to add guest star into the mix, and Twitch will probably say yes. That's almost verbatim. And then you take a look at the streamer awards and you see that they were sponsored and brought to you by Twitch. And what did they include? Guest star on the red carpet.
Oh.
And so you really start to think like why it's being pushed so much.
It reminds me of a talk that I saw. I don't know if it was Smodcast or whatever. But Kevin Smith was talking about. He was talking about writing the new Superman and yada yada yada. And this dude comes up to him, or there was like, he had all this information about spiders, and he wanted to tell Kevin Smith, and he was like one of the producers, like, do you know about spiders? Spiders are crazy things, blah blah blah. And Kevin Smith ended up not working on that thing, but the dude that was the producer like ended up doing Wild Wild West, and there's a fucking huge spider thing in there, and that's what this feels like.
I remember we talked.
It's like it feels like the fucking spider thing that someone was like, these are awesome, let's put them in.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's guest star.
I don't know why they're like the quote that it's the evolution of chat from was it I think it was Tom that said that in that article. I don't know why it's the evolution. Like, is it because it's like because you could just have someone pop into a stream and get their immediate thoughts or like speak, like, I don't know. I don't see how it is. I fail so that the simplest concept of it is just like, I don't know why this exists.
The way that it was sold to me is because it attaches directly to Twitch. There's more accountability. There's more like you can more easily control the person being in or out of your stream. Again, none of the stuff that I was told about it sold me on the product. So there's not like a huge amount of good stuff there. But I think it's more just they want it to be in the ecosystem. They want that stuff to be in the ecosystem. And maybe this is a launching point for a future product we don't even know about yet. Maybe this is all some kind of big tie-in. You know?
Maybe.
So,
yeah, maybe. I mean, if they're gonna keep pushing it, you would hope that there's something else coming down.
There's something there. Yeah.
Minor tinfoil hat moment. Someone Guomi from my chat said you need to give Amazon mic permissions for that. So
no.
And like maybe they just want other ways to listen to what you want and just give you products and sell you stuff.
Zeke,
maybe.
Couldn't they just watch the stream you're using it on though?
Not for all the people watching though. What if they're getting their
you
mic
mean
permissions?
for installing it?
Yeah, to like get guest star to work, you need mic permissions, is what he's saying.
So it's like Alexa V2.
Even if you're not using it?
Yeah. I don't know. That's the cynic, right? That's the cynical approach.
Yeah, I don't know.
It might be the right approach. I don't know.
All right. Hat off.
Yeah.
I will keep it handy though.
I mean, the other question I have is if this stuff goes through in June, if the 50-50 split is launched and like everything that Dan talked about in that blog a year ago launches, what do they do for like the community sentiment win after that? Like or is there not a win? Do they just push that and say like, run some ads, make that money back that we're taking away from you? Like, is that how they soften that blow?
I think in a lot of ways, the intention that was supposed to happen was that they were taking away sub revenue. They were taking that money. And the intention in a perfect world was that we're going to make it so you earn more than you have lost from that by now running ads, which also benefit us. So it's in their mind, it's like a win for you and a win for us, and obviously a loss for the viewers because they're going to get a lot more ads. So it was kind of like this, you win and we win. We both make more money because we're making money in a different way.
I guess, yeah.
And
I mean, that's how I think it's supposed to be.
Too.
Well,
it incentivized Twitch Turbo as well.
Which also benefits them. And I guess the streamer TV that counts as like an ad roll. But this is not the best pro viewer thing because there are people that don't have money and they can't sub and they don't got Twitch Prime and stuff, or they don't got Twitch Turbo. So I don't know.
I think viewers just straight lose from this.
Yeah,
viewers like the winners are Twitch and the channel. The loser is the viewer. So
definitely
in that regard, at that point they need to either suffer through more ads, and Twitch has arguably the most archaic ad watching system of the platforms of this size, or they have to sub to the streamer, or they have to sub to Twitch Turbo. So there's no real win there for a viewer in this scenario. Yeah.
Do you think that there's a chance, albeit a 1% chance, that they go back on the sub split thing?
Why?
You think? Yeah, I mean, that's a valid argument. I can't argue that. But Is that the win that would like get the community excited about Twitch again? Because for the most part, I don't know very many streamers that are like, yeah, fucking Twitch is knocking it out of the park right now, right? And they haven't really been for a while. I haven't seen that sentiment at all.
The only thing that I could see really happening is there's two big scenarios here. First of all, and we haven't even started talking about this. We have 8 minutes left, and I'm about to bring up like this huge topic. We didn't even get to talk about the dark and darker stuff.
No, not next week. Maybe more information next week.
There's a huge big thing that all of this stuff with ads, all this stuff with the sub split, and now just the layoffs are positioning Twitch for a sale, which is a whole different discussion that can be very interesting, and there's a lot of good reasons that may be actually happening. The second big thing is if Steak and Train throw enough money at Kick at big streamers. Like if if it's the kind of thing where he just, what was it, 3 days ago, Train said there's like 6 major streamers that are about to go to Kick. So it's like, yeah, of course it's probably going to be the next Mixer and everything. But if it was enough to light a fire, and if one of them was XQC and Hassan, for instance, like it was the kind of thing where all of a sudden they see, a double-digit percentage of their daily viewers leave the platform.
Hassan's under contract, so I know that was just a name you threw out.
For now.
Yeah, he's under absolutely couple-year contract, yeah.
Absolutely. So, but I'm guessing a lot of the big ones are. But at the same vein, like if it's the kind of thing where, theoretically, the company that is funding Kick has a massive supply of money, and if they continue to throw that at the wall, regardless of what people think of the platform or the people running it, there are streamers who will absolutely get those bags because they saw what happened with Facebook. They saw what happened with Mixer. They saw that they can just take a vacation for a huge paycheck and then come back later if they want to when the external platform inevitably doesn't work out. Like that's what they see over and over. We've seen this pattern. Yeah. So like their viewers would tell them, you're dumb not to say yes. So considering how much money the gambling guys have, like, and that they're willing to throw at this, like that's one of the very few things I could see would have Twitch maybe be like, well, maybe we need to actually start doing some things to try to hold on to our creators.
Yeah.
Because right now they have put all their money in the platform. Like they are clearly making it to everyone that Twitch is becoming about the platform, not the creator, the platform. And because of like that's their gamble. That is Twitch's gamble in saying, can they make the platform lucrative enough to where maybe someone want to buy them? And you have to ask yourself, why would they be doing that? Why would they be going more platform centric? Is it really just to make a little bit more money, or is it because they're trying to get a big amount of money? But again, it's like another 30-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Just a precursory, like barely anything knowledge of this. Like Kick strikes me as the place where Donald Trump went after he got booted off of Twitter. Like that seems where like that's going to be Kick. Like that's like a congregation spot, maybe.
It's yes, but if they had a lot of money,
you're not wrong. And one of the biggest issues with Kick right now is they're instead of trying to be like this cool, scrappy startup you should check out, they're very much positioning themselves as F Twitch. You should be over here. Twitch. They're starting this culture war that they're not going to win. Because that's what Twitch has in spades, is it has somehow, even to this day, this kind of core culture that keeps coming back to it. And they're trying to attack it at that. And it's like, that's the worst possible thing you can be doing. Not only does it make your platform look bad, but Twitch wins in that. Like every time that Train tweets out one of those tweets where he's like attacking the streamers, attacking Twitch and stuff, all that's doing is making Twitch win. It's galvanizing people. And it's like, if you actually want to go anywhere with this, like you have to rethink your entire approach to what you actually want this to be if you actually want it to be successful.
Yeah.
But it's one of the reasons it's a meme and not like an actual competitor at this stage.
Yeah.
I heard the TOS is more lax over there. Like, can anyone confirm that? Maybe.
Yeah, let me spread my ass here and make it say yes and fart Morse code or something. That'd be the Kick way to do it. I do want to bring up very short on time, but you were talking about the idea of people going somewhere else. Washington Post had an article from Nathan Grayson on it. And in said article, which is very good, he spoke with 10 current and former Twitch employees that spoke to the Washington Post. There was a lot of interesting quotes in here. This one is interesting in that regard about people leaving. It said in 2019, two of the biggest Twitch stars, Ninja and Shroud, I'm kind of paraphrasing, departed after signing deals to exclusively stream on Twitch, Microsoft-owned rival Mixer. Despite the defections, Twitch viewership held steady. In 2020, Twitch viewership skyrocketed to its highest point ever. Microsoft shuttered Mixer in 2020, blah, blah, blah. But as Blevins and Shroud both eventually made their way back to Twitch, Shear and other Twitch executives decided to shift their strategy, according to several current and former employees. Instead of paying a premium for top talent, the company offered its big streamers less lucrative contracts. Quote, it was a bet against creators, one former employee said. Quote, that was Emmett's hypothesis. We didn't need to be paying millions of dollars. It wasn't necessary that we didn't fully need big streamers. Fully need big streamers. It was that they don't have anywhere else to go, and we need to be profitable. Twitch declined to make Shear available for comment.
That's what I'm talking about. If Kick actually starts showing, there is another place, and they will pay them a huge amount of money to be there.
Yeah,
like at that point, that's when the alarms turns on at Twitch, and they're like, "Shit, this whole gamble we made, it just fell apart."
Yeah, he goes on and says Twitch executives came to view departures of big name streamers as an opportunity, according to employees. Quote, truthfully, Twitch is not too upset when top creators leave. Whenever a top creator hits what I like to call the purple ceiling, they leave or they don't stream as much, which allow other creators to grow to be in the top, one former employee said, referring to the moment when creators reach the zenith of their popularity on Twitch and either move on or burn out. With Ninja leaving, I think we saw 5 or 6 new stars come out of that. They go on to talk about Kai Cenat breaking the paid sub record of 300,000 subs without much investment from the company, according to one current employee. Quote, we didn't make a custom deal. A year later, he's the #1 most subscribed streamer on the platform, which is wild. The point, the former employee added, is that Twitch could have 10 more Kais by now if they were a lot more intentional about expanding their markets to reach broader audiences. And it kind of goes on. There's a bunch of different things in this article that I would love to talk about, but we're kind of short on time, so I would recommend reading it. I'll link it in my chat if it gets spread around.
I haven't read that yet. That sounds like, I'm going to check that out for sure.
It's very good. They straight up go on to rip apart a VP the VP of Global Creators just gets absolutely turned to and burnt to a crisp in this.
like he's like actually still there?
No. She no longer works at the company. She was a former YouTube executive who had a brief tenure at Instagram and joined Twitch in July 2021. It says, undernight, the current and former employees alleged that the team wound up rudderless. Some former employees said they felt the executive was broadly unsympathetic to the needs of creators. The direction we'd gotten from her over the course of her tenure was cut cost, cut cost, cut cost, a current employee said. Knight did not reply to multiple requests for comment. Twitch also declined to comment on Knight and other claims made by current and former employees. It goes on to talk about like HR complaints about her. It says, I worked for her. This is Garvey, who I actually know. Said, I worked for her for 7 months and we never got any kind of team-based strategy. How we want to work together, said Kandala, who led Twitch student team and had been at Twitch for 8 years before he resigned in July. And she didn't want to give any of her allocated budget to anybody on the team. They rip her apart. It's not a good look for Constant Knight. She left in September, for those curious. But
and on that cheerful note,
the ending quote to that segment was, "It's a broader issue at Twitch." One former employee said, "There's been plenty of crappy leaders who leave Twitch that nobody said anything about." So that's maybe a more cheerful note to the discussion.
Anyone got a shovel? Are there any more quotes?
They go on to talk about ads, fairly lengthy stuff on ads in here. Talk about quote unquote maintenance mode. Yeah. There's a lot. It's a good article. Maybe bring it up next week and talk about it.
Yeah, the one thing I could see it causing a mass exodus of streamers is probably a removal of more Prime benefits or free Prime subscriptions, right? I feel like that benefit alone, after Amazon acquired Twitch, I thought it was going to be a temporary benefit, and they did remove benefits over time, right? Where they removed site-wide ad removal, right? So now it's only applicable to the channel that you're on. But if they ever did remove the free subscription from Twitch, that probably makes up a majority of most content creators' revenue.
Yep.
I could see other popular creators being more incentivized to explore different options because they just don't have that motivation there anymore.
Yep. Prime and I
especially with the cuts what they're doing nowadays, it kind of seems like, they're trying to make more money, but then also reduce expenditures. Maybe there's pressure from Amazon to maybe go in that direction finally. Because how long has Amazon owned Twitch for?
What are we at? 8 years?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Really been 8 years.
Was that
2015?
2016, something like that? I forget.
It's been a while. 5 or 6, but damn, yeah. And we've all said it from the beginning. I mean, Amazon Twitch Prime was a raise for streamers. It was a raise.
Mm-hmm.
It was Amazon coming in and being like, "Here you go. We're going to give you more money per month." And now these days, like, I know some streamers that publicly say that like 60+% of their subs that are paying their bills are Prime subs. So to have those disappear at any point, to have them, we're going to phase them out over the course of 6 months, like, no, dude, that's going to be game over for an entire mid-tier of creators that are barely paying their bills, and there are thousands and thousands and thousands of these creators.
Yeah,
so that would be the nuclear option.
I mean,
if they were to announce that was leaving,
I agree 100%, Co. I think this thing that's coming up in June is a fucking nuke in itself. Like, you're going to see creators end up
the
quitting.
50-50?
Yeah, like it's a significant amount, especially with where sub counts I think are now in the current, economic status of the US and people just not spending that much at the moment. Apart from Prime subs, in general, just subs are down, I think, across the platform. So we'll see. It's very easy to get like super doom and gloomy, I think, about all this. So, yeah. We'll try to keep it
Dan,
lighthearted.
Save us.
Yeah, Dan.
Save us, Dan. Hashtag save us, Dan.
Get rid of it.
Speaking of doom and gloom, before we leave, I just want to say real quick, fuck you for taking away my goddamn check mark.
Oh, yeah, that's right, on Twitter.
I worked for that shit, and I've worked for years to get it, and then I get it, and I don't get to enjoy it for the rest of my god damn it.
You got what? 4 days?
Oh,
5 days?
You can enjoy it. So you just got to pay Elon some money.
Yeah, man. Don't worry though. when you pay Elon some money, you'll have the option to turn it off so you can hide your shame.
God,
that's fucking hilarious.
I think that's the funniest part of that whole fucking
my
thing.
God.
Man. Jesus.
I am gonna miss the mistags of Ezekiel Elliott though. I just got a flood of them the last couple of weeks because of something. I guess he's up for being traded or something. He's a free agent. I know that, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I won't get those anymore, which will be sad.
Yeah.
They also announced, and this is again one of those situations. I don't know if it was a meme going around Twitter or an actual article, but an article was claiming that that 11 million was how much that the blue check mark was making, which is literally a drop.
That's so little. Holy shit.
So little. If that's actually accurate, then that's just like, oh, these poor guys. Again, I don't know if it's accurate. I don't even know if they're public. Yeah, that was an interesting minor read.
Are you guys gonna get blue check marks? You gonna buy it? I don't think I'm doing it.
I had to because I was in the Yakuza game, and I had to post a video, and I did not realize that they capped how long the video can be under the blue check mark. So I decided for a month for that.
Is it 1 minute?
It would not let me post the video because it said like you do not meet the requirements. And it was like, and then of course the sign up button was right there, and I was just like,
oh my God.
Yeah. I was like out to lunch with my wife, and I had to get this tweet up, so I was just like, fine, Elon, you win this round. 1 month.
Yeah.
Also, April fucking 1st, dude. April 1st. You fucking kidding me with that, dude? Like, you better say psych. Say psych. Say it. I want you to say psych. Do it. You motherfucker. You.
Let's wrap the show. A lot of weird show today. Thanks for being on, Mods. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure coming on here, hanging out with you guys.
We'll definitely have you back. We'll get rid of all the tech issues. We'll have maybe
after
Diablo 4 launch.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd be a great person to talk to for Diablo 4 and all that if you're up for it.
God, June's gonna be crazy. Let's do some shout outs.
Yeah, whenever you want me. Just send me a message. I'll be there.
Sounds good. We'll let Co and Zeke do some shout outs. And then Mods, you can
Sure.
just
Yeah, I know.
what they
Next
go.
time we'll talk video games. We promise.
That's right. That's right.
It's not. It's
I
not
even made a
like
list
this.
of all the games I wanted to talk about today. Look at that.
Oh,
man.
God. That's right. That's right. We'll talk games next week. Co, do some shout outs. What do you got going
I
on?
will. As always, thank you to JP and Zeke. And a huge shout out to DatModz. Really appreciate having your opinion and expertise here. That was great to hear about all this stuff with the RPG. My name is Co. Hi, I'm currently finishing up Resident Evil Remake. We're going to be playing some more Diablo 4, going to be maxing out the Necromancer and checking all that out. Moving into next week, I think after RE4 Remake, we do have Dredge coming up, but I'm going to be doing a run of Diablo 3. And I found out recently, I've never played the expansion. So we're going to play Diablo 3 and the Diablo expansion and kind of get all set up so we're ready to just dive in when Diablo 4 comes out. We may do that as soon as after RE4. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Hope to see you for that. If you want to get all caught up with the lore and who people are and stuff like that, it'd be a good time to tune in. But on that note, appreciate y'all watching. See you next week, if not before then. And again, thanks DatModz for being here.
Awesome. Zeke, shout outs.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy. I'm just not gonna tell anybody about it. No, you can hide it. Oh fuck. Never mind.
What?
I was talking about the blue check mark. I was making a blue check mark joke.
I thought
What's
it was
up, everybody?
drugs.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, I thought that was
Thank
a
you
drug
guys
deal.
for watching, and thank you guys. Thank you to DatModz for joining us, and JMP and Co for being my co-host every week. Thank you very much. My name is Ezekiel30. You can find me at /Ezekiel_III. Soon to be without a blue check mark, whatever, white check mark on a blue background. Oh fuck, I'm gonna be unverified, so that fucking sucks. But I'll get over it. Obviously, if you want to check me out, I broadcast every day at 10 a.m. Pacific, except tomorrow, except Mondays. But every other day I'm live at 10 a.m. Pacific playing video games, all kinds of different shit. Fuck, I don't even know what I'm playing next week. I haven't even come up with it. I finished all the shit I was going to do. I don't know. I'll figure it out, but yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific. That's it. Thank you for watching.
Awesome stuff. Mods, do a shout out. Stop drinking that drink.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just getting some high quality H2O. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
DatModz. Absolute pleasure to be on the show. Thank you guys so much for having me. I've been a long time viewer, so very excited to be here. You'll just always catch me playing a variety ARPGs, MMOs, and just super excited for Diablo 4 launch on 6/6. But I paid extra money, so I get to play on 6 too early. But yeah, thank you very much for having me out here.
What do you got coming up on your channel? What are you playing this next? What's the not Diablo game? Not Diablo.
You guys,
4.
I gotta go. Thanks
Lost-
for everything.
See you later, Cobite.
Yeah,
See you go.
later. New Lost Ark raid, hard mode Brawl Shaza in April.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
how
try it
long is
out.
that? What's the average of attempts on that generally?
I don't know. Hard mode probably take like 10 hours, 8 hours of attempts.
Okay, not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad then. Cool. All right, that's gonna do it. Thanks everyone so much for watching. Drop Frames Co. You look. That's what happens when they take away Prime. You turn into Co.
Why? You just look at him. It looks like he's going down a roller coaster.
Yeah, Co just got told
Yeah, it looks
that
like he's having the
they're
time of his life
removing
over there.
Twitch Prime from the platform. He's very upset. He's very
Raise your
upset.
hand if you're going to be the first big streamer to go to kick. Oh, go. That's you.
Oh, Co's going to kick. He's going over there. Anyways, thank you so much. Sorry for all the weird tech issues today. I don't know what the hell's going on. Maybe it's a, I wonder if that's an NDI problem, Barry, because vMix crashed and also OBS did. That might have been an NDI issue. Anyways, I'll go figure it out. We'll be back next week. We'll find a guest. We'll let you guys know. You can follow us on Twitter at Drop Frames, and we'll keep you updated on who we're having. VOD will be up a little bit later today. I think there's going to be some edits that need to occur, so it might even be a little bit more delayed. For now, though, we're out of here. Mods, thanks once again for joining us. Have a good rest of your day. We're out.
Bye. Have a
Bye-bye.
good one.